Hello guys and welcome back to the Football Social live on Soccer AM and Football Daily's YouTube pages. Today it's the big game and we're joined by some big guests, with Will, quite literally. Okay, so Manchester City need to bounce back from that 3-1 humbling to Liverpool before the international break, and Chelsea on a run of 7 league victories on the bounce, so coming to this game with good momentum. Joining me, it's a bit of a disgruntled Dave Jackson.
Yeah,
how are we feeling, Dave? Just watch the Arsenal draw. We will touch upon that in a second.
Yeah, we will. Let's just keep it moving. Let's just keep it moving, buddy. Fuming is probably the best.
Can't bring himself to talk about it yet. And quite, luckily we have Glenn Johnson, who's in better spirits.
On the house.
His second Football Social appearance. First with me, so somewhat of an honour. How do you feel about this game in hand? And we'll discuss, the Jose Mourinho debut today, a little bit later. But how do you feel about this game?
Be Liverpool's biggest problem. I don't think City can afford to lose again, so it's going to be interesting.
Nice. William?
Yes, my friend.
It's definitely not your second appearance. No. Part of the furniture now, aren't you, mate?
Yeah, I've got a new chair as well today.
You've got a new chair. We got any new questions?
Yeah.
And how can people get in touch, Will?
Well, if you want to get those questions in, use the hashtag TFS at Football Daily, at Soccer AM, and we'll get the best ones to the panel.
Lovely, jubbly. Let's move on to today's results and the table, gentlemen. Here we go, a little bit delayed there. Of course, that earlier game we were referencing just then, the start of Jose Mourinho's Tottenham renaissance, their first away victory since January when they beat Fulham, I believe. Arsenal 2, Southampton 2. We'll be touching upon that several times today, and Dave Jackson will be recounting the game minute by minute. Wolves just about getting past the 10-man Bournemouth. Leicester staking their claim for a top 4 finish by beating Brighton away from home. Liverpool, dramatic scenes at Selhurst Park. Firmino giving them the edge then, a very valuable 3 points. If City lose today, they'll be 12 points behind. Like I said, we'll talk about that later. That's the meat and potatoes of the show. And Norwich beating Everton.
Oh, stinks.
At Goodison. That is not good for Marco Silva, is it? As you can hear, the noise is emanating from Will. But let's bring it back to Manchester City versus Chelsea after the table, which is looking pretty, business as usual in the bottom half. Not a lot to touch upon there. Norwich, of course, winning, but still not moving out of the relegation zone. And now Tottenham have, won today, finally away from home. They creep into the top half in 9th. Manchester United 10th. Arsenal, Dave, now behind Wolves and Burnley.
Yeah. Sheffield United could get a win tomorrow.
Leicester solidifying their place in second with that victory. Love how we just came back in on the close-up of Dave there.
Yeah, mate, it's nice to see Burnley.
Let's talk Arsenal before we go on to Tottenham.
Yeah, I think it's time.
What happened today?
I was going into the game. I was extremely confident. I thought, right, we've been humbled by Leicester last time out. I thought they have international break, come back and just really because I feel I feel like his job before the game generally was at risk for the first time actually, and it was and I thought like the players would kind of like put in a bit of a shift, kind of give it all they've got, and it was an absolute shambles. The score 2-2 doesn't do it. Like we should have lost this game at home against a team that started the day 19th. I believe the manager is going to have to go.
The boos ringing out there pretty damning. I think the fans agree with you. Of course, he's been publicly backed by the board in recent weeks, but it was the perfect opportunity to get back some goodwill after the international break. And Southampton, this is a team that Leicester beat 9-0.
Yeah.
Well, you're struggling to draw with them at home.
Well, I think what was even more telling is after we managed to get the equaliser. After we managed to get the equaliser, there was no celebration. There was no running to get the ball back to the centre spot to try and go and get the third. It was almost like, have we just saved this man's job? It was like, and the thing is, any walk of life you're in, right? You might not like your manager, but you need to respect him. They clearly do not respect that manager now, and I think we've come to the end of the road.
Yeah, we saw Lacazette equalising deep into stoppage time, and the body language from the Arsenal fans did not suggest they were all that. I want to say bothered. That's perhaps the wrong phrase, but.
Yeah, it was extremely bizarre scenes, and but we didn't actually deserve anything from it. We should have lost that game. Nathan Redmond had a chance to make it 3-1, which he probably should have taken. There was another couple where they kind of hit us on the break. Yeah, but we. Again, my further frustration was the fact that it's not like the manager looked at Southampton's weakness and go, OK, I'm going to put players on, they're going to exploit their weaknesses. He was just throwing on attacking players and hoping that an Aubameyang can try and do like a madness. It was extremely. He's laughing. It was extremely poor.
Well, there is a certain Mr. Pochettino available on the market right now. Would you encourage
snap him up.
Your club's board to move for him?
I'd absolutely snap him up. I think he's a top
Mm.
manager. I do not know what Spurs were thinking by getting rid of him in the first place. My point, we were kind of having a chat before. I think if you look at our players, I think they are good enough to be getting Champions League football off their league position. You look at it now, we're so far from that at the moment. And you know, again, when I say that, I've obviously got my Arsenal hat on, so I'm going to be a bit more kind of rose-light tinted. But we are so far from Champions League football at the moment.
Yeah, I concur, mate. I mean, that segues quite nicely to talk of Pochettino into the Tottenham result today. Of course, Jose Mourinho clinching victory in his first game, and I was desperate to ask you, do you think he's going to make a good fist of it? They've given him a 4-year contract. Has he changed a sufficient amount where he sees out a time like that at another club?
Well, time will tell, won't it? The thing is, usually when new managers go in, they usually get the players rallied, don't they? And they usually win their first game. So, and to be fair, the 3-2 don't really do them justice, does it? They did dominate the game. Yeah. It looks like they scraped it on the result, but they did play really well. But no, I think if he stays around, he'll be the right man for the job. But what is it? In 15 years, I think he's only been at 2 clubs for more than 2 years, or for 3 years, or whatever it was. So I think if he stays there, then I think he will have the time to get his way of playing into the players, and he'll have time to use the youngsters and things like that. So, but if he's there for 18 months, then there's no point.
Yeah, I mean, the track record would suggest it's going to be closer to 18 months and 4 years, but he does have a very decent pedigree, very decent history of improving players pretty rapidly, and there are players at Tottenham of a really high calibre that haven't been hitting those heights this season. Dele Alli being one of them, Christian Eriksen being another. You must have been at clubs in these situations where a new manager comes in with a big reputation. How quickly do you think he can get those big stars playing again? Is he that sort of manager? Is he affable enough to kind of turn around a bad spirits, bad fortunes at the club?
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah, I think he will get them enjoying training from day one, because the training is fantastic, very organised and intense, and he'll get the lads enjoying their football again. And like you said, they've got some top players and the squad's decent, so I expect him to sort of keep this form that they've started today. I do think that he will get them back to that level very quick, because like I say, he's working with talent, so all he needs to do is get them smiling and enjoying their football again, and they can perform. Yeah,
because we had heard rumours, there's a pretty damning article in The Athletic about Pochettino pretty much sulking his way to the sack. But you don't really think of Jose Mourinho brings, someone who brings that feel-good factor to the club straight away. But behind the scenes, is it a different story? Is he buoyant, vibrant?
No, he's not. He will make them enjoy it through being successful. So training won't be like laughing and joking and this and that, but it'll be very sort of strict and serious. But once the training's done and the lads have done well, he'll let them know that they've done well, and then they'll be enjoying it outside of the training, if that makes sense. So he won't be making it like a circus, but just from today, for example, they will now enjoy tonight. They will learn what it's like to start winning again, and he will get a bit more out of them in terms of a winning mentality.
Interesting. So just a matter of getting them refocused more than anything.
Yeah.
OK, cool. Well,
yep.
There was another big incident in one of the games. Firmino rescuing 3 points for Liverpool. It looked like they were going to leave Selhurst Park with, share of the spoils. So how do you think this, affects Manchester City's mindset heading into this game? And can Liverpool be stopped? We're saying it every week now.
I mean, just on football socials alone, we were sat here the other week with Jermaine Pennant when Mane popped up with that 94th minute winner. This was a late one. The VAR
time.
Yeah, the VAR call was probably right. We watched it when James Tompkins had a goal disallowed, but I don't know, it just feels like that momentum, and it just feels like it's Liverpool's year, which I personally don't have a problem with. I know a lot of people don't want Liverpool to win the league, but I always like to see new people win the league, and I think it's their time. It's not very good football analysis, but it should just happen.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Everything is going Liverpool's way at this very crucial juncture in the season, and that VAR decision, whilst it felt a little bit harsh, was perhaps right, but that sets the standard very high from corners, doesn't it, Dave?
Also, as well, Zaha had a very, very good chance to make it 2-2 that he'll look back on and go, you definitely should have scored that. Palace actually played really well today. I was trying to watch the pair of them whilst I was crying as well.
Much Liverpool.
But yeah, and it was definitely a harsh decision, the VAR. But he definitely did fail the player. It's something that definitely would not have been picked up on last season without VAR.
Otherwise,
but it was like a foul, and I think Palace will feel unlucky they didn't get something from that game. But it's looking more and more like it's going to be Liverpool's season, to be honest.
Chris, just on the Arsenal debacle, let's call it what it is. Lots of questions in for Dave. One here from Gwyn. He said, "Is Dave having a good evening?"
I'm having a fantastic evening.
Yeah.
Right, well, let's keep that short and sweet then, because it teases up very nicely for the big game. So let's take a look at some of the lineups for what could be a pretty seminal match in the season. So for Manchester City, Ederson comes back in following that muscular injury. Cancelo and Mendy coming in as well. Manchester City changing their fullbacks following that Liverpool defeat. The midfield's pretty much as is, and Riyad Mahrez reclaims his place in the team after an excellent start to the season. He's been on sort of rotation in all competitions, hasn't he? Sergio Aguero, the Chelsea slayer, 10 goals in just 13 appearances. He'll be in and amongst it today, let's say. And on to Chelsea now, where, I mean, it's pretty much business as usual. They've changed formation a few times this season. We've seen a back five as well. We've seen a 4-2-3-1, but this seems to be what they're settling on moving forward. And Christian Pulisic on the left-hand side, following that big money move. Bit of a slow start, Glenn, but he has been absolutely fantastic in recent weeks, as has Tammy Abraham, who of course has one more goal than Sergio Aguero at this point, if memory serves me correctly. That could be quickly dispelled in the comments, but let's see. What do you think of that Chelsea side? Because it was a Chelsea side in transition not long ago, and now that team sort of picks itself, Glenn.
Yeah, well, you look at that 11 there, they look solid, don't they? 11 v 11, that could beat most of the league there, and I think they're showing that the way they've been playing. And I know they had a few injuries recently, and they've had to get some kids in that have probably outperformed what anybody would expect. But no, it looks like a solid side.
No Mason Mount there, which may come as a little bit of a surprise, to the neutral, because he's been Chelsea's sort of golden boy, their go-to guy this season. How do you think would you have included him in this game? Because obviously he's done very well, but this is a game of a certain magnitude, and he's opted maybe for a little bit more experience and solidity in midfield. Do you think that's the right decision, or are they going to miss him in this game, Glenn?
No, I think that's the right decision. Like I say, he has been playing really well, and better than most would have expected at the start of the season, and obviously myself included. So he'd probably be a bit upset that he's not playing, but it is a different game. It would be the biggest game of his career by miles. And obviously Lamps feels like it might be a step too far for him right this second, but I have no doubt that in the near future he'll be starting in these games.
Yeah, we'll probably see him in this game as well, won't we? And of course, last year this fixture was 6-0 to Manchester City, so Jorginho, a welcome inclusion. He's been very sound defensively this campaign, hasn't he? And Frank Lampard pretty determined to be more competitive this time round. Let's hear from him now.
How do you find that balance in midfield today, particularly between Jorginho and Conte? Because, well, you weren't there, but it was a problem last season.
Yeah, I know about the game last season. I've watched it, and I'm more interested in how we're playing of recent and how we're going there midfield. I trust in the players. We work a lot. We know about Manchester City, and now it's up to the players to implement it. So, yeah, we'll have to get it right and think about how we can go up against their midfield, because we know it's one of the best in the business, but also what can we do with the ball.
Have you picked a team to try, at least, to dominate the ball?
Yeah, I mean, to come to Manchester City and declare I'm going to dominate the ball would be a bit brave, but we have to be confident we can play. It's how we've been playing recently, confident on the ball, creating chances. So we have to come with that idea, but we have to understand that we're coming up against a team that have been doing it for a few seasons now to a really high standard. So both elements of our game, on and off the ball, have to be spot on to get a result.
So in fine form, but What are you going to learn about your players today?
We'll see. You never know as you go into a game.
Are you sort of genuinely interested yourself?
Yeah, I'm always interested, and when you get a test as one like this against such a strong team and a manager and the way that they are, then obviously it is something that you will learn as you go along. I said it yesterday. I don't think it will be something that we should judge ourselves on in the bigger picture. It's a small part of that because they're so good. But let's see what we can do.
Thanks, Frank. Good luck.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
I mean, what a job he is doing at the start of this season. And I think us and the football community at large didn't expect them to be in the hunt for top 4. And everyone sort of gave Lampard a bit of leeway, didn't they? A bit of bandwidth, saying, oh, give him a year. You know, if they're in the top 6, then he'd have done well. But their aspirations are probably a bit higher now. And are you looking on that Chelsea setup, Dave, with a bit of envy, mate?
He has done a fantastic job. I know it's still early doors. I thought they were going to really struggle this season. I think particularly losing Hazard, who really... I remember last season, the amount of games he single-handedly got them through, and to kind of lose him, not be able to bring anyone else in to replace him, because obviously like the transfer ban, he's got a team that knows how they want to play. They have a vision. They have almost like an identity. And they're playing fantastically. And even the thing we talk about, like Mason Mount, he's played a lot of football already, so this isn't a bad game to just take him out a little bit. He played both games for the under-21s. It's like it's
good game for him to come on.
Yeah,
isn't it, mate?
you know, like say they are losing, he can bring him on. Maybe he's not. The thing is, what's that? If he comes on, he's not expected to actually win the game for them, but just to actually have like an impact, and that's absolutely fantastic for a young player to be able to come.
Him and Pulisic can share some of that burden on that left-hand side, because of course Man has played on the left-hand side as well this season. Glenn, you've been at Chelsea as a young player. The first purchase under the Abramovich era, right?
Correct.
Oh, there's a little nugget for you. You can have that one for free, guys. Are you looking at this side now and thinking it's about time Chelsea changed their culture, embraced the youth that they've always stockpiled? Is this refreshing for you to see?
Yeah, it is. Because, like I say, they found themselves in the unfortunate position. Obviously, broke a few rules or whatever, so they got a bit of a punishment. And but from the back of it, they found players that they probably didn't realise they had.
Yeah.
They probably thought they'd maybe come into the fold in a few years' time, but they've pretty much all the young players they brought in have hit the ground running. So now they're worth tenfold more than what they were at the start of the season. So as a whole, I think it's worked perfect. And obviously, Lamps has got everyone smiling again, and as David says, the way they're playing is great.
That's what it'll be now, won't it? Everyone will want a transfer ban because it'll make everyone cool and get
everyone.
Oh, we'll have a transfer ban.
This is the most likeable Chelsea have ever been under the most challenging circumstances. Spoke of good value there, Glenn. We've got some odds for you right now, guys. Come on.
I'm old, mate.
Here we are. Price boost for today, gentlemen. Aguero to score a hat-trick was 12-1. Now 14-1. Of course, he scored a hat-trick in the fixture we mentioned prior. Manchester City to win 3-2. And I do think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Two of the league's big attackers, sorry. Manchester City to win 3-2 was 18-1, now 20-1. Abraham and Sterling both to score was 5-1, now 7-1. Odds accurate at the time of recording, subject to change. Check out the website for the latest odds and more details. Of course, you have to be 18 plus to play along. Now, let's get some predictions, because it's almost that time, gentlemen. Dave, starting with you on the far right,
City,
not his political stance.
No, I think Man City win 3-1. I think the thing is, Man City have to win. There is no room for error here. If they've got any chance of retaining the title, then they have to get 3 points today, and I think they'll do it quite comfortably.
It's interesting you say that. The only time Pep has won a title when he's been behind on points at this stage in the season was with Barcelona in 2011, and that was a pretty useful side, wasn't it? And even then, he was only 1 point behind the league toppers, and he's actually never taken fewer points from an opening 12 games of a season in his managerial career. So it might feel like that narrative is overplayed, but this isn't a set of circumstances he's found himself in before. This is going to be a challenge for him on a personal level as well. So I agree, this is a must-win game. Glenn, do you think Manchester City are going to roll them over like Dave?
Brain says yes, but heart, obviously I want Chelsea to win. I'm going to go with 2-1 Chelsea, but I don't really think it's going to happen.
Oh, yes, Glenn, I like that.
Love that variety, mate.
Yeah, a little price
At least we've
boost
got, divided loyalties on that so far. What about your fine self, William?
Like you said, both very attacking teams, so obviously ties into the narrative of being a 3-3 draw today for myself.
Oh, come on.
I think that could actually happen today. I've been saying it for about 12 months, but today is the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
OK, so have you gave us a scoreline there? Was I
3-3.
just ignoring you? 3-all?
Yeah,
Sorry, I was just blanking it out. It's your score prediction every single week.
3-3.
Should have known. And what we shouldn't be blanking out is fan questions. Do we have any, Will?
Yes, we've got plenty. Make sure you get in touch using the hashtag TFS, @FootballDaily, @SoccerAM. Glenn, how has Frank Lampard impressed you so far? Was it obvious when he was a teammate of yours that he was going to become a fantastic manager?
That's a very good question.
Yeah, it was. He always spent a lot of time with coaches and managers, and you could tell he's always trying to look to learn more outside the game and things like that. So I think it surprised me how quick he became the Chelsea manager, but that's obviously down to obvious circumstances and that. But no, it's not surprised me at all, really. I just think it's all sort of happened slightly earlier than I would have expected. But he's doing a great job.
Yeah, and if it blew up in his face, you'd feel bad for him, wouldn't you? Because he took the job despite only having, 1 year at Derby under his belt. You felt like he was doing the club a favour at that time. Keep your questions coming in. If you're not subscribed to the channel, then hit that subscribe button right now. The game has just kicked off, so we'll be describing all the best action for you.
First of many, I will.
In the way that only the Football Social can. Dave's going to try and pick his spirits up with that coffee.
Coffee's disgusting.
Who do you want to win? You've got to get a narrative. You support someone, Dave.
Say it, mate.
Who do you want to win?
City, mate. I can't say Chelsea.
We've got City, Chelsea.
Draw. I'm supporting the draw today.
You're sitting on the fence.
Draw's been playing well this year.
I'd like City to win because we don't want Liverpool just to run away with the title, do we? Of course, like we said earlier, there will be 12 points to the good if Chelsea beat City here. Go on.
But then Chelsea, like Glenn said, if Chelsea win, could they be in the title race?
Hold on. Do we think Chelsea have the legs for a title challenge?
No.
Starting with you, Jackson.
Honestly, with all due respect, I think the thing is, you know what I was saying, that it's such a must-win for City, is because Liverpool's so good. Like they're just not dropping points. They've won every game, right? No, not every game. Every game?
They're on a 30-game.
They
unbeaten streak.
United. Yeah, they drew United.
We can get that confirmed in the gallery because that's just come from the back of my head.
But yeah, they're just awesome. And that pains me to say. You know, it's not. But they're playing so well. Games that they definitely would have lost last season, they're drawing. The games that they drew last season, they're winning. They are looking at a different animal.
I mean, they were rolling teams over in quite a convincing fashion last season. This season, they seem to be securing the points at the death, Glenn. And you know when you keep doing that as a side and that momentum carries on into the next week, do you start to feel a little bit invincible? You know, you're part of a Liverpool side that came second, that got 84 points. So you know what these guys have been through. When you're winning, it's a cliche, but when you're winning a little bit uglier, that a victories taste that bit sweeter, Glenn.
Yeah, that's the difference. You know, when you're winning games where you're not playing your best football, or like you said, nicking games in the last minute. That's maybe a couple of seasons ago they weren't doing that, and that obviously can be the difference. So there's a lot of games this season that they've won so far that last year they would have drew.
How honest are the players with themselves after they've, just snuck a victory? Do you get in the change room, you're like, lads, we're lucky to win there, or is it like we weren't even playing at our best and we won?
Yeah, it'd be like they might say, look, we didn't deserve that today, but who cares? Do you know what I mean? If they win, at the end of the day, your only job is to win. And I'm pretty sure that every Liverpool fan would accept if they played crap for every game for the rest of the season but won them all, then everyone would take that.
Yeah, I think they would. How long have we been waiting for a title now? Is it 1989, 90? Around.
It's been a long time.
In and around that era.
It's been a long time. Before I was born. Was it before you were born?
No.
Yes.
Yeah. What are you, Dave?
No, I was born when they were champions.
Fair. Yeah. Glenn, welcome to the show.
As we discussed in the office earlier, Dave used to get the cane when he was a child. Anyway.
Did you actually?
Let's have some fan questions.
That's good, is it?
One from your dad. How are you feeling now after the cane?
What?
We've got the score predictions in. Imran says...
Chance!
Goal! Oh! What happened there, Dave?
Close, that was.
You're going to take us for the Man City attacks, mate.
Yes, so Sergio Aguero slips in. Kevin De Bruyne, he has it on his right foot. He's about half a yard from hitting the target. It was a tough chance. But
Aguero assist.
I don't know if it was a save, because actually.
So Aguero teamed up KDB.
Yeah, it was a very good effort. He's extremely close.
That is.
He is.
That was very,
10
very
centimetres.
close. 9 assists KDB's got this season.
Yeah.
5 more than anyone else, mate.
Yeah.
Is
got that many?
he the best playmaker in the top 5 leagues? Midfield playmaker. You know, let's just discount Messi, because, of course. Where would you put him? I'll give you a little bit of time to think about that, because I've thrown you under the bus with that one. You're actually thinking, what are the top 5 leagues in Europe, Chris, right now? You know, is it the Eredivisie? Is it Ligue 1?
I think he's definitely up there, because the thing is what he's so like consistent, you know, and again, that kind of speaks about City's strength and depth last season, that he was out for so long and they were still like the champions.
Just 900 minutes last campaign.
Is that really?
Yeah.
In the league?
So he released a little Twitter video before this season started, didn't he, saying he was using that as the fuel for this season, and he's gone off like an absolute rocket. So fair play. How hard is it to play against someone like KDB, Glenn? Someone, a midfielder that can just pick those passes in between the centre half and fullback?
Yes, it's tough. You know, you just always have to be bang on your game, and you have to follow every yard of every runner, because there's a lot of times you play against some people and they got the ball and you might sort of expect it not to come, but with, like I say, with De Bruyne, he literally delivers it perfect. So you've got to be on top of your game, mate.
Who's just one player, winger or maybe a central midfielder that picked the passes like we just mentioned, that you were like, this guy again? Maybe during your time at... Well, let's talk about Chelsea.
Ooh. What, played with or against, do you mean?
A little bit of both.
Probably early days with Scholesy. Scholesy was like, it was the same. He obviously didn't get around the pitch like De Bruyne, but he would. The team he was in were obviously a joke at the time, weren't they? They was unstoppable. So he just stood in the middle of the park spraying it about everywhere.
Offside, sure.
So to see someone like that, like, would you be speaking to your right winger and being like, okay, like before the game, okay, you need to help me here, or is it just with the game would kick off and you'll start shouting at the right wing and say, come help me out, or would you know what I mean? Would you actually plan before, or would that actually be part of the manager's tactics or whatever?
The team would have it set up depending on who the winger is or who the player is that sort of starts their attacks or whatever, But usually what you want to try and do, if someone's got a player like Scholesy, you want to get to them as quick as you can. Don't let them start building the plays and things like that. So it sounds like cliche, but you want to start defending from the front. You know, to stop them having the ball as much as you can. But it's easier to say it than do it.
When you see fullbacks, you know, Chelsea haven't set up today with, you know, in that 3-5, in the 3-4-3 that we discussed before. But when you see the demand on the modern fullback, in your head, like, how would you articulate like what it was like when you started and what it's like now? Obviously, from a kind of fans' perspective, sorry, I was getting sucked into watching the game there, Jen. We are very aware of how important they are to top managers. You look at Robertson, you look at Trent Alexander-Arnold at Liverpool. It's the same at Manchester City. Do you kind of feel for them to an extent? How substantially has it changed? Is what I'm trying to ask, I guess, in a very elongated
Well, I guess
way.
the major way it's changed is, like, 'cause we used to always get forward, even from when I was 18, even younger than that. We'd always get forward, but you'd start deeper. Managers would have heart attack if you started staying on the halfway lines or whatever back then. But
hang on.
But from, I don't know.
Hang on.
We're in.
Oh, he should have scored.
Brilliant. Very similar chance there to KDB. What happened there, Glenn?
I didn't see. I was talking to you.
Fair play. And I like your honesty. And that's why we asked him back. Will, you were watching the game. What happened?
Yeah, right back gets dispossessed, and then Tammy. Hang on, the ball's gone up the other end.
I love it already.
Yeah, Tammy got dispossessed the centre back. I think it was it was a fullback Cancelo, and then went on a mazy run. Played in Willian, tight angle, but should have scored.
Yeah, we've seen very similar chances for both sides in the opening 7 minutes. This is going to be. It's going to be
humdinger.
Absolute banger.
It's going to be tasty.
Right, and if you want to, get your questions to Glenn or to the rest of the guys, then please get them in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel. Stick with us for what is no doubt going to be an absolute corker.
Yeah.
Glenn was explaining being a fullback 15 years ago to being a fullback now.
So as I was saying, it's just it's probably the starting positions, because we used to all get forward, but probably from alongside your centre half, whereas now sometimes you're starting further in front of the midfield. So it's the managers letting them have that freedom to do that, and midfielders to have the knowledge that if it breaks down, they can drop into centre half and things like that. So I guess that's the biggest change, I would guess.
Is it as well a lot of like? Because I imagine when you first started, it was very much like 4-4-2 versus 4-4-2, but now it could be like you're playing a fullback against a 3-5-2. Like, how do you adjust as a fullback to checking all that?
Well, to be fair, it depends. Because obviously you have a formation when you start.
Yeah.
But then during the game, you probably play 2 or 3 different formations. So like a lot of managers would say, like in the top teams would be like, we're playing a 4, but when we get the ball, we want you to be like the wing backs.
Right.
So you're almost leaving just 2 centre halves. You'll have a holding player, so that even if you get caught too high and wide or whatever, then you've still got 3 defenders there, which is usually enough.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. You just got to sort of be alive to the game and just
React to it accordingly.
think on your feet, sort of thing.
For you, who are the sort of best fullback pairings, or maybe just individual fullbacks across Europe now? Because of course the Liverpool guys are, well documented. Do you think they're that much further ahead than anyone else, or has anyone else caught your eye?
No, I think they are in front of everyone at the moment. Obviously, they're asked to attack, and they're producing more goals than anyone. So yeah, I wouldn't swap them two for many right now.
I mean, watching Robertson makes me tired. It's the engine on the guy is absolutely
Hang on.
unreal. Chelsea getting forward here.
Oh, that's
Very
dreadful.
open,
that
isn't it,
is.
this game?
It's extremely open.
Bit more quality from Willian.
But I think that goes back to what you're saying. It's right. It's like Trent and Robinson. They put the opposition player on their back foot, don't they? And I think that's what makes them so good, isn't it? Like, then there's more space for
that's what they used to ask you to do. If you were playing against a certain player, they'd ask you to almost run yourself out of the game sometimes to see how they react. But sometimes some of the top players would just let you do it and then stay there, and then you think, oh, actually, I better go back a bit. But it's just like a bit of...
Sammy!
Does your manager do that unless you have an exceptional centre-half, though? Like at Liverpool, Van Dijk and Matip are fantastic, because by contrast, Arsenal have 2 exceptional full-backs in Bellerin and Tierney. But are they going to be quite as forward-thinking?
Well, we had 5 defenders on today and we got caught ball watching. It's ridiculous.
So, yeah, that's my... I guess my question is...
No, it's not a question, is it? You're just having another dig, aren't you?
Good evening.
Yeah, Glenn, do you have to... In your experience, the managers you played under, does it depend how able your centre-halves... Chance?
Hits it.
Manchester City screaming forward here, Aguero in the box. We'll get back to that conversation in a second.
I'm shouting.
Chelsea block it and manage to... working out from the back pretty confidently. This is a la Manchester City here, and...
Go on.
Give it...
Great
tackle.
tackle.
It was a good tackle. Jorginho as well. Mr. Lightweight, Jorginho,
He's been
doing some
fantastic
great
this
defensive
season.
work there, yeah. It's almost like the media narrative about him last season was well off. Anyway, what were we saying? You have to have an exceptional centre-back to enable your wingers to play like that. It takes a brave manager to give them that licence without it, right, Glenn?
Yeah, but on the same time, the centre-half ain't going to want to be exposed like that all day. No matter how good they are.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you need to go forward at the right times. So if you are getting caught and the ball keeps going in that gap, then you're either making the runs too early or when you haven't got comfortable possession. So you'll only get away with that once or twice, and the centre half will be telling you.
Yeah. You do see that, Van Dijk, don't you? You do see that, to be fair. Will.
Yes, my friend.
Let's have some quick fire questions from your corner.
Couple of questions coming in around Tammy Abraham. Big debate we were having the other week as well. If he keeps on this same trajectory, could he be a starter in the Euros? Will Gareth have to replace Kane? Will he have to bring him up top for a 2?
That's a very contentious question for the first 12 minutes. I like it.
Yeah, go in hard. Welcome, Glenn. Welcome back. Kane or Tammy?
Well, right now, I have to say Kane.
Yeah.
It's going to take some doing to get in front of him, I think. But
is it almost good for Kane at the moment? Because he didn't have the start he normally does. Well, a little better because he was scoring in August. But is it good for Kane to be pushed by someone like Tammy?
Yeah, of course. I think it's good for everyone to be pushed, isn't it? I think I don't think it's healthy for anyone to sort of expect or know they're going to start every week. It don't matter how good you are. You want competition, and I think it's good for both of them. Because obviously Tammy's going to want to be starting those games, isn't he? So he's going to keep pushing, and let's see him go toe to toe and see who gets there.
Yeah, Tammy must think he's well ahead of schedule.
Do you think he would have the start he did? Because he scored a lot for Villa last season, and I'm a bit biased, but for me they were a lot in the box.
Yeah.
Quite a few penalties. Well, he did score 23.
I mean, it was pretty well covered statistic that he didn't score from outside the box for Villa, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He had great pedigree at Championship level. He deserved his opportunity at Chelsea. I didn't think he'd accrue quite as many minutes as he has done. What's been really impressive is all of his numbers from last season have just gone up. The amount of shots he's taken, his shot locations, like his hold-up play has been much better than he was given credit for in the Championship. As demonstrated there, making an absolute nuisance of himself. Willian on the right-hand side now. People were very...
I think he's like a lot stronger than what I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
Like he's a lot...
He looks wiry, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He looks...
Nothing wrong with that.
Thin, yeah. No, don't. You comparing yourself
the
to
best thing
Abraham.
about him is how he's taking it all in his stride, isn't it? Because if you had mentioned him starting for England in the Euros 6.
I mean, we've got Jadon Sancho now, Raheem Sterling.
That's what I was about to say. For me, I've played Kane and then Sterling and Sancho.
Should we go back to the question then? So Tammy, what would you take Tammy in the squad?
Yeah, 100%.
Are we all agreed Tammy's going to the Euros, I imagine?
Fit, I think so, yeah.
Touch wood, yeah.
Go on.
What's it?
Oh, wow. What was that, Stanchion? It's Tomori.
He's been fantastic.
Tomori has.
He'll be going as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
See, that's the other contentious thing back on England. Who plays in the back four?
Yeah, because I think that is not set in as in stone as well.
Tomori.
From where we were.
That's kind of like the attacking options.
I imagine it's going to be Maguire and Stones. But are you talking more fullbacks as well?
Well, even with the centre backs, it's like Maguire and Stones on paper, but when you actually break down the form of it, like Stones hasn't been in the best of form.
I suppose it's a similar situation to Kane and Tammy, right?
Yeah,
there's parallels there in that there's one more obvious starter, but the other guys have got to stay on their toes. And I do think John Stones is, I know his like stock has taken a bit of a hit, but he's probably still England's most exceptional ball-playing centre-half.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Glenn? Like, who would you want lined up? If you're right back for England, who do you want to see to left-hand side here?
It's a good question.
Who have we got at the moment? It's mad to think, only a year ago.
I think it's probably our weakest position, isn't it? The centre-halves.
Yeah. Even left back, yeah.
In terms of being well stocked, yeah.
Yeah.
Tyrone Mings coming onto the scene as well.
Yeah, I'll probably pick Stones.
Yeah.
I'll probably pick Stones. I know everyone says he's got a rick in him and that, but at least he's got the balls to play.
Exactly. And
at the international level,
last season.
Yeah, and at the international level, you get a lot of time on the ball, and you need people that can make a pass. And if you can make a midfielder's type pass from centre half, it can change the game.
Interesting that you say that. So a team like England are given a little bit more time. Is that even the case with the top nations? Is it just slower in general? The international
it's just slower in general. Usually the teams respect each other a little bit and sit back. It's not like the high press of Liverpool, for example. Do you know what I mean? Everyone sort of sits back, and it's almost like set plays all the time. You know, so it's all about build up. And you have to be comfortable on the ball.
Well, interesting you say set plays, because England were brilliant from set pieces at the World Cup, weren't they? And Harry Maguire was essential to that. So if that's going to be a tactic we employ again at the Euros, you'd imagine he's definitely starting purely for that reason. But I think it should be John Stones. Who do you guys think should partner Harry Maguire? Let's go for it. Let us know in the comments below. Will?
Yeah.
Ben Chilwell. We forgot to mention him at left back.
Ben Chilwell.
He's been blooming exceptional.
It's just, I think it's getting our mindset out of that top six mentality, isn't it? Because all you think about when you think for England is that top six, but all the Leicester boys.
Oh, no.
Tammy, flags down.
Oh, it's a pen.
Is that a pen?
It's off.
No, offside.
No, he's offside. I was ready. I was getting out of my seat there. It's halfway.
The one on Stones, though, I think his form will change completely. It's like when Laporte comes back in the team as well.
Yeah.
Because he has that sort of like commanding effect that Van Dijk does for Liverpool, doesn't he?
Yeah.
When was it Doogie at FD?
He's done his knee, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's out for a while.
He's only coming back in the new year, and he'll probably be a little bit. It might take him a little while to get to grips after that, because that's a big old injury, wasn't it? 6 months. This is pretty breathless opening. What are we on? 17 minutes now. Is that Pulisic?
He's tight.
Oh, very tight. And Tammy Abraham there.
Chris, a quick answer to your question. Dave, you'll be very happy. Wangu says he wants Rob Holding at the Euros. Dave obviously previously said, Glenn, that Rob Holding is a future Arsenal captain.
Yeah, I stand by it.
Do you agree with that?
I imagine you're massively invested.
I think you faced it all.
No, I can't see that one happening.
Dave, still stand by your comments, or want to retract them?
Yep, I still stand by it. I've already said it on.
I love
I've
that.
said it on camera, so I've got a camera.
You sound so sad that you've had to say you're standing by.
But I'll be honest, I think we've got more pressing issues than Rob Holding at captain, to be honest. Has he been sacked yet? Can you find out?
Yeah, just had a little look. He's actually signed a new 5-year deal. So
straight away in my ear. Mature dog, nothing yet, but I'm on it. So, somewhat. Phil in the gallery could well, but he's holding the axe over Emery's head at the moment.
Good, he needs to drop it, mate. So, yeah.
2-1 on Sky, I bet it is. So that's fairly low. That's fairly damning.
Let's get a little price boost.
And we will, keep informing you, of any fallout post that Arsenal game, because I imagine it's absolutely booting off online now. And the Everton fans, let's not forget about Marco Silva, because he was walking a tightrope.
No way that fella keeps his job.
And Everton have spent around 450 million since.
How much?
I think it's since the latest takeover. Don't quote me on that. It might be give or take a year or so.
450
They
million?
have invested considerably in the last 4 or 5 seasons.
Oh my God, Moise Keane don't even
nothing
play.
to show for it. I mean, Gylfi Sigurdsson cost them an arm and a leg as well, didn't he? There's been
Theo,
Davy Clarkson, Wayne Rooney's wages,
Pickford
Theo,
was 30.
Pickford.
Alex Iwobi.
It's almost like
Michael
they've spent
Keane.
about the fee we mentioned.
Everton just make football manager signings. Like, I don't really do my scouting on football manager, and that's something you can hold against me, Chris. But I just signed the players that were obvious, and that's what Everton always do.
They're like QPR.
Whoever scored the week before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Player ratings. Michael Keane had a good season for Burnley. Bring him in.
I'll just go to Nation Brazil and just sign
Go you.
10 of them. One of them's going to come good.
That'll be Everton's next.
Right, what's happening in this game? Just Riyad Mahrez is looking pretty infuriated. He's not won the corner there. Both teams enjoying themselves in wide areas.
If I was Chelsea, though, I'd be quite encouraged, because City's defence is a lot. It looks a lot more vulnerable than what it's been obviously last season. They're definitely there to be kind of got at if they're kind of brave enough, I guess.
Yeah. What did you think, Glenn, as a former international defender, when you see Manchester City playing central midfielders at centre half? Do you think that's just an indictment of the modern game, or not indictment's the wrong word, but you know what I mean?
No, I don't mind it. I think that in the top teams, because you have the ball all the time, especially at home, I think it can be a great tactic.
Kante!
Oh! Kante the wizard!
N'Golo!
There you go.
He's quality, isn't he?
That's brilliant.
So good. He's so good.
I mean,
What a
There you go.
left-footed strike!
one of the big positives under Sarri was that Kante started to add a goal to his game. I think last season 4 or 5 to his name, and here he's come up with a goods. Not the most convincing finish. Great bit of interplay there in the midfield.
What a run from that! Run from deep onto his left.
Will, who put that ball in?
It's Kovacic.
Mateo Kovacic has been great at the start of the
Look
season.
at that.
Look at the gaps in the middle, though.
Yeah, that's
There's two runs.
like
Mendy
literally what I just said. That's
covering
you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
they're there to be got at. Like,
Break that down from a defensive point of view, Glenn, because I didn't even notice the gaps.
Well, the 2 centre-halves just looked like they was watching. There's the striker running through, Kante's come, and that's obviously the fullback there with him in the middle of the pitch.
Oh,
Yeah, Mendy's had to come all the way over there.
Where the other two are
following
doing
Kante's
nothing.
run.
absolute poacher's finish from Kante.
So you think that's potentially owing to City's kind of disharmony at centre half?
Yeah, well, the 2 centre-halves have literally just, all they've done is just jog back in a line. They've not looked to see if there's any runners, or not one of them picked up the striker that was right in between the pair of them.
So they should have dropped off there.
Well, one of them needs to take the striker, and the other one who's not marking him needs to look for the runs, and neither of them did either.
Is that alarm bells, Glenn, when you see Mendy that far across the pitch as a left back covering that runner?
No, sometimes it's the right thing to do. He's tried to cover the runner, but the centre-half needs to be a lot closer. And if he's closer to him, he might even intercept the pass.
Whoa, that's so Chelsea, Leicester challenging now. So when Pep leaves Man City, would you have him at Arsenal Day?
oh mate, I'll take anyone, mate. I'll take anyone.
What?
Oh, okay. I mean, straight down the other end. Has Kepa just had to make a save there? Is that a Manchester City corner? It's looking
Yeah.
like it.
Perfect
So
for the
Manchester
stream.
City looking to reply straight away. I'm thinking that Eddie Howe has been linked with the Arsenal job. How do we feel about that, David?
He's obviously done a fantastic job at Bournemouth. Don't get me wrong, but is he
ready for a big
beast,
job? Because he has done a very good job at Bournemouth. Just laughing there at your reaction, not Eddie Howe.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm being disrespectful. I'm not being disrespectful, but
Are you being disrespectful?
I feel like there's a better calibre of manager that we could go after. Because if you look at us, well, we generally have some very good players there. We've clearly got we've actually got a bit of money for like maybe like the first time in like 20 years kind of thing. It's just, come on.
This is wide open.
Just saw a pretty damning stat there on screen for Manchester City's Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, even when they go behind. So it's happened 12 times. I imagine that's since he was installed. And they've only won 2 of them and lost 9. So this bodes well for Chelsea. I'm not quite sure if that was at the Etihad. We can clarify that in a moment. But
it's very unusual.
Looking to reply straight away. That was an overhit cross by KDB, which is also very unusual to see. We've seen any unusual comments?
Well, definitely some unusual comments. Most of them I can't use. But many people, one shocked to see Chelsea 1-0 up and one to see N'Golo Kante in an attacking position like that and have such composure.
Right, we scored 3 and 6
his third
there.
goals in 6 games. It's practically an AMC now.
I mean, surely that would be Sarri's greatest achievement.
Probably the Europa League, mate.
No, I'd say he'd be vindicated for all the trolls that said Kante couldn't do it.
Yeah, I agree.
And just
Kante's definitely got more to his game than just being.
He's genuinely world class. He's fantastic.
Absolutely.
He's just brilliant. And the fact that we. It's just ridiculous.
Don't think what's gone before, just think about the future.
I know, future's bright.
You're still 7th in the table.
Yeah, but we're fighting out with Burnley now.
Don't forget Sheffield United, Dave.
Yeah, I think there is a few teams in and amongst you who have a game on you as well.
I was so confident this morning that we.
Perfect game back after the international break. They're at home. They're playing a struggling team. Like I said, they got thumped by Leicester.
Yeah.
And you'd think they'd be well up for it, but as you were saying, when they went behind, they had no sort of energy, no enthusiasm. Like they just looked like they was happy to lose 2-1, and then they got a goal that was totally against the run of play. But they just looked happy to just accept the lose and get off.
Poor, wasn't it? What's it like having that respite of international break at a top club? Are you just dying to get back at it in terms of domestic football when you come back? Because we didn't exactly see that reaction from Arsenal.
No, you definitely didn't see it from them, no. But it depends. It depends. It's one of them. If you're on a winning streak before, you don't want the international break. But sometimes it comes at a good time to give yourself a little bit of rest and time to sort of reevaluate some bit. So it's one of those. It all depends on your situation just before you break up, really.
And was it different? You know, back in your time in England, everyone talks about those factions that emerged. And obviously you played for Chelsea and Liverpool. So did you ever find yourself behind the scenes, congregating with one set of players? Or because you'd been at both clubs, were you just cutting about, Mr. Popular?
No, to be fair, I'll get on with everyone. So you just sort of float around with everyone. But there are some groups that sort of keep themselves to themselves. But that's just normal, though, isn't it? If you've got a room of 30 fellas, there's going to be some that get on with a couple more than they do the others. So it's not a bad thing.
For sure. Well,
yes, my friend.
That's a good question, mate. You look very relaxed there.
Yeah, I'm just
feel like we need to put you to work a little bit more.
Got questions?
I feel like you're getting complacent, mate.
No, they're already up here, mate. I've got them stored. Obviously, we were speaking about Leicester earlier with Ben Chilwell. Title race wide open now. Do we think they've done it before?
Well, if they keep winning every week, they're clearly going to be there. But it's one of those, because obviously that year they did win it.
Yeah.
I was one, probably like you boys as well, saying that, they'll lose this week.
Yeah.
They'll lose this week. And it never came. So, no, I don't expect Leicester to push Liverpool to the line, but I've been wrong before. So,
where do you rank their 11 in comparison to the rest of the top 6?
That's a good question.
Probably around 6th in terms of the actual 11. I think they're performing better than that.
Yeah.
But in terms of who, I'd probably prefer to pick some players from the other 4, maybe.
Yeah.
But I think they're all playing out their skin at the moment.
I think if they had a backup for Jamie Vardy, they'd be a much more convincing Champions League contender. You look at that team; they've got the outstanding creator in the league in James Maddison. They are reliant on Vardy running hot, which he is right now. But I got a bit of grief for saying on one of our shows at the start of the season, I want to see what you boys think about this, that I'd potentially take a midfield three of Maddison, Tielemans and Ndidi. Or pause that for a second because Manchester City are in.
De Bruyne!
KDB. Oh, he's got in! He's taking a deflection. KDB, I don't know who he sent for a hot dog there, but he rolled someone, brought it back in on his left foot, and it's managed to bounce past the keeper. It looks like it might have hit Jorginho. Kepa wrong-footed. Wow, we've got a game on, gents. David, was it you that said there's going to be no goals?
No, I said 3-1 City.
Oh, fair.
The 3-3's actually on.
I know, I think this is going to be the one, Will.
3-3's on.
Stiff.
So what's happened there from a defensive perspective, Glenn? Is it just unlucky?
No. Normally they'd say don't be diving in, but when De Bruyne's lining it up on his right foot, you've got to throw your body on the line and just do what you can to try and block it. And it's probably his worst strike of the season, and it goes in.
Nothing the keeper can do there, is there?
No, not when it deflects like that right in front.
Totally wrong-footed. Is that come off Zuma in the end?
Come off about 3 of them.
It came off Zuma, but it came for an absolute medley of players. Going back to the question, if you were to construct a midfield three from Leicester
Go on,
and Chelsea's players to challenge Liverpool and City, and we're just starting with midfield here because they've both got exceptional midfields, what does the makeup of that side look like?
Well, I think you see, like the first name's Kante.
Kante.
Regardless.
All right,
yeah.
Kante. I think
Kante and the other
would
two.
all be in agreement. Kante,
Tillemans, Maddison.
Tielemans, Maddison.
Yeah.
I'm playing a 10-year project there as well. Do you know what I mean? Because Maddison and Tielemans are a bit younger.
Yeah, for the future,
Yeah.
I like
And then when Kante falls off, you've got Ndidi to bring in.
Okay.
That's my 3.
I like that. So you're just hoping Ndidi sticks around
Yeah, indeed.
until
He's
Kante
still young.
Kante ages out. We interviewed James Maddison on Football Daily, and he thinks Ndidi's better than Kante, so controversial there. And the numbers would suggest that, defensively speaking, Ndidi's probably the best ball winner in the league. You've played under Brendan Rodgers. Did you foresee this effect he'd have on Leicester, playing this attacking brand of football?
Yeah, because he did it with Swansea, didn't he? And no disrespect to Swansea, but they didn't have the team that Leicester have got. And to be fair, Brendan, he sets a team up properly when they want to play football. And he can get players that are probably what you'd call average to perform like a decent player.
So when you say properly, do you mean forward thinking? Is that?
Well, it'd make them understand the game a lot better.
Okay.
Make them understand it better positionally and also the way they sort of just think through certain situations. So whereas some not so good players won't understand what to do in certain situations, he would teach them the game very well.
So he's good at sort of imparting that tactical kind of nous into them.
Definitely, yeah. And
Nice.
also because he's learned the majority of training from Mourinho, same as Lamps. Because really, you've got, in the top 4, you've got Mourinho's 2 understudies.
Children of Mourinho.
Yeah, his offspring almost. You know what I mean?
what we're saying
learned
is
the game from him.
Jose's
He's running the show.
in some way, shape or form is in the Champions League right now. The godfather of the Premier League, indeed.
Yeah, but it is. They both learn everything from him. You know, the training will be the same. The way the style of play is very similar. And it does fall under his umbrella.
That's interesting that you say that Brendan Rodgers is that's what kind of differentiates him as a top manager. How far do you think he can go with this side and with a little bit more investment? Will saying there, like, do we think Leicester can win this title again? And when you say that, you almost, can't speak for you, we're going to put words in your mouth maybe, it's like half joking, but when are we going to get to the point where we start taking them seriously as a title contender? Second after 13?
Even when they won it,
Yeah, no, they're doing.
take it seriously.
Yeah, no,
But yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah. Even when they won it, what price are they
Turn
getting
him,
the year
turn
after?
him, turn him,
Probably-
turn him.
They wouldn't have been favourites, would they? So I don't think they're going to be title. I think they can fight for top 4 consistently, but Tottenham are going to get miles better. Arsenal shouldn't be where they are now. United are going to eventually get back, and then you've got Liverpool, City. So I can't see
That's
them
only on
competing.
reputation.
It's not like, the thing is, like, this is, I think, my frustration, because like if we had top 6 players, then you are where you are. But I generally do believe, hand on heart, that we have a particularly an 11 that should be at the top 4 of the Premier League.
Well, particularly going forward.
Yeah.
Go on, Stone.
Yeah.
If you don't get Champions League again, How hard
It's really bad.
is it going to be to retain those stars? Because you keep trying to rebuild a squad.
I think that's another reason why the manager's got to go, because, like I said, in Aubameyang, their contracts are coming up, and it's like they are not going to commit to a manager that they do not believe in can take that team forward. So it's almost like if there is a better manager available to actually take us forward, then that is the decision that we need to make.
It does sound like he's going to get to the end of the season, though, doesn't it? Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I think the other thing as well, like traditionally as well, with back in the day, it was like the top 4 had all the money. So say like Leicester were having a good season, the following year the team would be pinched and everyone would get put into the top 4. But now Leicester could arguably afford to play big money to keep the likes of Maddison, keep the likes of Tielemans arguably chose Leicester over Manchester United. So I think if Leicester can keep what they've got and build from there with a Champions League place, I know we think traditionally of Arsenal and Man United as having to be in there, but that could just be...
Seeing the other side of Kante's game there, winning the ball higher up the pitch, and that's what Sarri was trying to incorporate as well, wasn't it? By giving him a bit more freedom, just to not be at the base of midfield. He wins the balls in such advantageous areas, and Chelsea nearly got in as a result. Seeing some frosted tips there on Aymeric Laporte in the crowd, and he's not taken injury well by the looks of things. That's
disgusting. That
he must be. Very, very strong Pete Dorman vibes there. Have we got any more questions?
Yes, we certainly have, Chris. Plenty of questions coming in. If you want to get them, use Football Daily at SoccerAM. Use the hashtag TFS. Glenn.
Yo.
Don't know if you knew this. You probably did because you scored it. It's 11 years since you were at Fratton Park. A ball came to the edge of the area. You took it on your knee and then absolutely twonked one in from about 30 yards.
I do remember.
Is that the greatest goal you ever scored?
Yeah.
That was goal of the season, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's great that you've got a catalogue that you had to think about it as well.
Almost saw an absolute banger there from Kdb on the edge of the area.
The one for Chelsea against Blackburn weren't too bad.
Talk me through it.
JT tried to put a cross in, which weren't a cross but fell to me.
Yeah.
I flicked it over someone's head. Nutmegged somebody else. And then just tapped it in the top bin some.
See, it's great now that we can go and watch that goal. If you were Pele and said that, I wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah,
we all know he's a born liar.
Did you always back yourself from range? Did you just enjoy it, or was it something you actively practiced?
Well, no, it's a technique that you practice, but it's just nice to get involved with attacks, isn't it? And when you get a chance, you might as well have a go. But no, I used to enjoy shoot from range, so both feet.
The goal I remember fondly of yours, Glenn, was it? I think it was for Liverpool against Chelsea. Was it the left-footed curler?
Yeah.
Now that's technique.
Chance.
Yeah.
Oh! Hello, Riyad Mahrez, who's been there. One of their outstanding players at the start of the season, cutting in on his left.
You said 1-1.
That was a 2-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea.
36 minutes, 3 goals.
Come
We're
on.
flying. What a game.
It's happening today.
What a game.
Dave.
All right,
It's today. It's taking 3-3, yeah, Will?
3 today.
I'm going to talk you through this goal. And it's all Riyad
wow.
Mahrez. He receives it on the left. He goes past.
It was right back, but he needs to keep him going that way. If anyone's seen Mahrez play football, what's he want to do there?
Cut on his left.
Exactly.
We were just talking about that goal, Glenn. Very reminiscent of your finish there.
Similar.
Exactly. Maybe he's using the Glenn Johnson locker.
And that is, I can confirm, Mahrez's 49th goal. So
What, in the Premier League?
If he scores,
No,
in
today.
the Premier League. If he scores, if he scores another one, gentlemen, it'll mark a lovely personal occasion for Riyad Mahrez, who last season was on the peripheries, and this season looks like a new player. Looks like he's been fully rewired by Pep Guardiola. Not to say he wasn't an exceptional player before, but defensively his numbers are up. When you see a winger with his sort of talent working as hard as he does, Glenn, do you think what a pleasure it would be to be a fullback in that team?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. And that's the thing. When you've got these top players, that the work rate can be the difference because they can all do that on when they want, but they seem to get more luck the harder they work.
Yeah, and Bernardo Silva's another one, isn't he? Not
Yeah, he's
featuring today.
different class. Bernardo Silva's a joke.
You all right, mate? Taking it all in?
That's just seven attempts to 6 in Manchester City's favour.
Fantastic.
Only 38 minutes in. I've been waiting for a game like this in the Football Social because, you know, sometimes we have to dress up some absolute horror shows, Will. And
last year,
not so much this time round. Absolutely fantastic start to this game.
This season we've been quite lucky, I think.
Do you think Chelsea can feel a little bit aggrieved to go behind in this game?
Apart from they had the Willian chance early on, they played well, but they're in there 2-2.
It's been a little bit classic. Classic
defending.
Chelsea going wonderful going forward and bad in a defensive transition.
Come on, Aguero. He's not scored yet. There's 2 goals on the board.
Look how quickly City can break. I mean,
what's that Aguero stat, Chris? There's most goals he's scored.
The player who's scored the most goals against Chelsea in the Premier League.
It's Aguero.
And
I've got him as captain in my fantasy team. There's been 2 goals for City and he's not scored any of them or assisted. How's that even possible?
Every week you hijack this show with fantasy football chat and I've had just about enough of it, to be honest.
What? 21, but it means something to me.
All right, we've got any more questions then to keep us ticking over?
Yes, we have.
Chelsea's
obviously, there was a few shocking results today. Obviously, one at the Emirates. There was another one at Goodison Park. And a few more stinkers as well. But who do we think is the next manager to be sacked? Will it be Emre? Marco Silva's on the chopping block? I know it's a horrible question, Dave.
I definitely felt it from Everton. I don't know how he can keep his job. That sounds really bad.
Yeah, this is the question that we have to answer.
Because
the ex-footballers don't.
I think the thing was, did you see, because they're at home as well, like they should not be losing that game.
Oh no.
Oh, it seems to be down Chelsea's left-hand side where City are absolutely battering them.
Who's that? Emerson?
But he's the more defensive.
That might be a pen.
That's a pen.
Tomori looks a little bit guilty.
Giving it. No, goal kick.
Lovely ball back in from David Silva on the left-hand side.
Oh my!
Aguero does get there first, and Tomori is just breakdancing. I'm not quite sure what has happened there.
Dave, come on.
What?
That's a penalty.
I think that was extremely harsh.
I think he's actually done Tomori a favour there. If he waits for the contact, it might be more of a pen.
Goodness sake.
City pressing really, really well. Glenn, I heard you say on the way in you weren't quite sure about the rules anymore because of VAR. How do you feel about it as an ex-player? How are those players feeling on the pitch, you know, while that sort of stuff's being decided?
No, it's frustrating. I think it's too slow. I know that they're putting up silly stats at the moment, which includes people being offside by a toe now, and their argument is that, well, you're offside. But it's like, it's entertainment at the end of the day. You want the game to flow and be as quick as you can, and you're sitting there watching a game, and people are delayed in their celebrations because they're not sure if it's going to be a goal or whatever. So for me, it's a waste of time.
I think in other big leagues, it might be Serie A. They're having a bit of an emergency meeting on its implementation in the league and the effect it's having on the flow of the game. And I'd imagine that might happen in the Premier League.
We had one here, though. The chiefs met, and then the referees, the chief of the referees just gave some rubbish answer, and then they put their head in the sand, and we move on again.
Ostriches. Nigel Pearson
do in meetings.
Yeah. The thing I don't understand is, like, you know, in like the World Cup, it worked because you had the screen, right? So then the referee was changing his own decision.
Yeah.
At the moment, you've got someone in a room.
Stockley Park.
That person's not going to overrule the referee. Well, if the referee realises he's made a mistake, he's more likely to go, OK, my bad. And that was the point, because the point of VAR is though that the correct decision is being made, right? Whereas I just don't understand why it doesn't work like how it did in the World Cup.
I don't know a massive amount of detail on this, but I think in the English game they're quite reluctant to go over to the screen because it adds much more time. And it's all about timings, it would seem, at least in the Premier League. However,
what is that? Because our refs,
I'm not sure how much more.
To get back and forth.
John Moss has got to get across one of them screens. That's an extra 6 minutes added
Bring
on.
the screen to him.
Yeah, bring the screen.
Screen on one of them car things.
Little drone.
It's like an iPad.
Just play it for John Moss on the
actual. Still in mistake. Kepa. Oh, it's crossbar follow up.
Dive.
He's got to score there.
No!
Dave, talk us through that.
Kepa has had an absolute nightmare there. He should have cleared these lines. The ball should have gone into Rosette. It went straight to Sergio Aguero. He's tried to take it first time, and he's hit the crossbar. Ball comes back out. Chance for Mahrez to maybe score on the second chance, and it gets snuffed out by Chelsea. Now Chelsea are on the attack.
Lovely, Dave. Well done, mate. That was excellent.
Good memory, that.
That's a little bit. A little bit unlike Aguero there, just to...
Yeah, really unlikely. You thought he'd finish it, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
It's like a weird decision, like technique-wise.
Yeah, just to fully
It's not for a
finish
normal
that, wouldn't
striker
you?
keeper
whack
one
it.
out, but
Oh, lovely from Willian
they're
there.
going to
Chelsea,
Aguero to score.
that could be a big moment in this game because Chelsea back on the attack, City just about managing to deal with it. This is very end-to-end. The gentlemen are doing well to watch it.
3-1 at half-time, I think that's it, isn't it? But
I think you're right, David. I think you're right.
Play Aguero. Yes, Aguero.
chance.
Right, let's just
ball.
Here we go.
wait to
No,
see
back
how this
post, back
Manchester
post.
City attack fizzles
You
out.
selfish
And
individual.
Cancelo, who, since his big money move, hasn't really established himself, has he? Cancelo blazing it over. Do you know who doesn't blaze a lot of shots over?
Who?
Tammy Abraham. Do you know who we've got a price boost on?
Oh!
Right, Tammy Abraham to score a header at 18 to 1.
Oh, I'd
Odds
have a bit of that.
accurate at the time of recording, subject to change. See skybet.com for latest odds, and obviously you have to be 18 plus to play along and to listen to Dave's commentary on Arsenal. So
Also, when the fun stops, stop.
there we go.
Oh, it's there.
That was it. That was excellent. That's got to make the best bits. That was cinematic.
how's he missed-
Anyway, back to the game in hand. Let's get some questions in the last 2 minutes because it has been breathless.
Good one to watch.
Glenn, another one of your former haunts, West Ham United. Obviously, all the focus today was mainly on Tottenham, but it's not very good. And we spoke about Silva, Emery. Could Pellegrini be on the chopping block?
Well, yeah, he definitely can be, but when you look at the side, I don't think it's his fault.
No.
The side don't look great, does it? That side you look at today, it's like, well, I don't know, it was odd. So many times you saw somebody on the ball trying to dictate to other people what to do.
Yeah.
It's almost like they're just standing around watching each other. It's just like loads of individuals running around it.
Yeah.
It's a bit odd to watch.
He's a league-winning manager.
He's a top manager. There's no doubt about that.
Is he almost too big though? Do you know what I mean? Like he's come to that, and then it's going against him, and he's
come to bat.
Yeah.
I don't want him to get sacked.
Here we
I don't
go.
want him to, but
Pick someone out, Sterling, Aguero.
What's wrong with him?
Pass, Silva.
He's offside.
That is
Offside.
What? It's just Man City.
I feel like if David Silva tells you should have been ready for that pass, then David Silva's right.
Yeah.
And he's the captain.
Yeah, and he's the captain. I think was that Raheem Sterling not getting back on side for that little pass? The attack eventually fizzles out. But back to Pellegrini then. Do you think West Ham can get a manager, with better
he actually
credentials?
wasn't offside. Sorry, mate.
Do you think that West Ham could get a manager with better credentials than Pellegrini? Arsenal are struggling. If Emery left, they'd struggle to replace him with there's a bit of a dearth of managers out there at the moment, isn't there? So do you think they're going to hold on to him just because of that, maybe?
Well, in terms of reputation, he's going to be hard to replace a team like West Ham at the minute. But I don't know what he can do. The team isn't great. It don't matter if you're a West Ham fan or not. The team ain't great. So it don't matter if you've got Mourinho managing them. You can only do so much.
What about Declan Rice? We spoke about the England squad before. What do you think about his chances of making the Euro 2020 side? Because the base of midfield isn't where we're particularly well stocked, but his form has kind of dipped a little bit in recent weeks.
Well, to be honest, almost forget the midfield. He could be the answer to the centre half.
Really? Okay.
But I think I know. Funny enough, I've played golf with his old man, and I know he would relish the time to play back at centre half. So he's obviously doing a great job where he is now. But I think where we're not really struggling in midfield.
Yeah.
He might be the answer to slot back there.
Interesting. So you actually think he would be up for it, so to speak, playing centre half? Because that's
Nice.
lovely that by Chelsea.
Lovely.
Because surely he'd be more likely to break into the England squad in that midfield position, right? We're all distracted here because Chelsea are playing it pretty adeptly around the box.
Yeah, I think he'd rather play in his sort of number one position. But put it this way: if he wasn't going to start in midfield, then he'd bite your arm off to play centre half, wouldn't he? So, but I think it's just good. It's just good to have those players in your squad that you can have the option.
Okay.
He'd be good for a back three, wouldn't he?
Right, that's half time. Good for a back three.
Yeah.
Maybe
Sorry, mate.
get on a Pellegrini. Tell him.
No, I mean for England, we used to play that back three, didn't we?
That is half time. Do we think 2-1 is a fair result, gentlemen? Will?
Yeah, I do actually. I think Chelsea have played well, but they've not actually created those clear-cut chances. Aguero hit the bar as well. Remember that chance from Kevin De Bruyne. So I think the score's fair, but it does set it up very nicely for the second half because Chelsea are pressing well and going forward well.
Dave, thoughts?
I'd say City probably just about edge it. I think 2-1's probably about fair. But you have to play very well because let's not forget they're away to the champions, so I think they play well.
Your 3-1's looking pretty good, mate. Glenn?
Yeah, well, my 2-1 isn't looking so good, is it? That's pretty much done. But I think City.
Hopefully you're wrong. We want to see some more goals, don't we?
I think City deserve it. And scanning the chances, Chelsea are probably lucky that it's still only 2-1. But then saying that, they've had a couple of good chances themselves. So, like I say, at least we're watching a decent game, and hopefully Chelsea get a few more in the second half.
Yeah, I agree with you, mate. Particularly towards the end, City were in the ascendancy, weren't they? Let's have a couple more questions then.
Yes.
Before we
we'll get them
get to our special half-time feature, William.
Yes, very much looking forward to that. One of the big questions from the start that one of the guys asked in the questions, Phil Foden, Glenn, been a talking point throughout the season. Is Pep doing the right thing with him? Obviously, he's still young, but people are calling for more game time. What would you do with Phil?
Yeah, I think Pep's doing the right thing. Let's not forget, he's a young kid and he's at City. So you've got world-class players in front of you. There's not a lot you can't sort of go and bang down the manager's door, can you, at whatever age he is. So I think it's harsh on the kid because in pretty much any other team, he's going to be playing most weeks, isn't he? But I think at least by drip feeding him into the game, he's going to be playing with the best players he can. He's with one of the best managers around. I'm sure he will eventually be one of their star men regular, but for now I think he just needs to sort of be patient, learn as much as he can and put on a show when he does get an opportunity to play. But it's hard for the kid because obviously he's losing out on appearances that go down on his CV that he is missing out on, and he'd obviously want to play every week.
How did you handle that at Chelsea when you were competing with the likes of Paulo Ferreira, for a starting berth? How did you rationalise that in your head, when you weren't picked?
Well, no player enjoys not playing. So if you're not playing, you're not happy. It's as simple as that. But I think it's slightly different in the sense that obviously Phil's a young kid coming through, and he's still very young, and City are winning the title. So I think it's slightly different. But no, any pro out there, there's not many that are happy to not play.
I'm sure. I was fairly happy when I didn't get picked on a Sunday, mate. Especially during this time of year when it's pretty
cold. There's been some goalkeepers that have made a career out of not playing.
There's a documentary waiting to happen on third choice goalkeepers.
Yeah. That's a great point. To be fair, let us know your favourite third choice, second choice goalkeeper. It's not going to be Roberto, is it?
He was ridiculous. No, he was. How's he?
You've kept it clean. Fair play to you. Right, let's have a couple more questions, then we'll go to our video of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah, one for Foot One. Who do Manchester City need to sign in January? Maybe not specifically, but what sort of areas do they need to look at? I mean, top heavy, we're all right, but I'm mainly thinking about those. Maybe even the fullback burst, definitely the centre backs.
I think potentially have a centre half. Just looking at that, when watching against Liverpool, that was where their issues were. And looking at them today, there was a massive hole in the middle of the defence, so. If there was a top quality centre half out there, they could go and get. But I think that's the thing, right? It's like, is there going to be someone who's going to come in that's actually going to demand a place? Because if not, you might as well just stick with what you've got, really.
Yeah, I'd agree. What do you think about that, Glenn? Anything to add to the?
Well, yeah. If you say where can they strengthen, you probably say right back, a centre half. But they have spent money in both positions. And the problem with City is you don't get long. So if they sign someone now, they've got to hit the ground running. Otherwise, they're just going to be another one that they've signed for 50 million that don't play. So I think it's more of getting some form out of the ones they've signed. Because just signing someone for big money ain't always the answer.
Yeah, Cancelo embodying that, really. He started in this game, he cost £50 million. He's not really made an impression, has he? A dent in the side. OK, let's go to our half-time feature, which is even, bloody hell, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer ahead of Super Sunday, doing something with our very own Adam Smith.
In front of me, I have some of the most searched questions about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer on the internet, and you're going to attempt to answer them now. How are you feeling?
I'm not sure if I know all the answers, but let's see.
Hopefully you do.
Yeah, let's see.
OK, first up, where was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer born?
I was born in Kristiansund in Norway. And there's a Kristiansand, that's south, and there's a Kristiansund, that's north in Norway. So I remember first time I booked a flight from Manchester back home, They booked me to Kristiansand.
No.
The wrong, yeah. So, but,
Did you get on the wrong flight? Or?
No, luckily I checked it before.
Right,
so
brilliant.
Kristiansund.
Kristiansund,
Yeah.
not Kristiansand.
Yeah.
A little birdie tells me that you've got a Hollywood-esque sign as well. Am I right in thinking there is a 20 legend sign, like the Hollywood sign, about you in Norway? Is that right?
In Kristiansund, we do have a sign up on over the other side from where I live, and it depends on the theme of the week or the time of year. So if it's Christmas, it's something about Christmas, Merry Christmas. And when I got the job over here, it was my sign.
Oh, so they changed the sign.
So they changed it all the time.
Next up, what is the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer chant?
Oh, I can't sing it here now.
You don't want to sing it?
No, there's been a few. I've been lucky enough that the fans have. I've got an easy name, so obviously it started with just my Ollie, and I'm not going to sing, please, because it can and will be used against you. But,
okay, fine. Ollie's at the wheel as well, of course.
Yeah,
now.
that was very popular at a certain period, and then now it's gone. We'll have to make sure it's getting it back.
Yeah, love it, love it. Next up, is Ollie the best ever super sub?
I would think so, yeah. I've seen, obviously, Jermaine Defoe, he's come on and scored a few goals. Giroud scores quite a few goals coming on. But for me, I was the best sub I could ever be for Man United when I played, because it was a privilege to be here, and if the gaffer gave me 20 minutes, that was my 20 minutes to make sure I was in contention for the next game. Yeah. Which he knew, so he knew he was always going to get the best. Yeah, he was brilliant.
Next up, what hobbies does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer have? So aside from football, what does Ole like doing?
I like watching, obviously, TV series nowadays. I don't have time for enough movies. Yeah. Got a cinema room back home.
Oh, nice.
When I built the house, I thought, sit back and enjoy the films, but I don't have time for that anymore.
Do you know?
So I used to love watching movies before when you were a player, because then you have plenty of time.
Yeah.
I used to play Football Manager when I was a player.
Okay.
TV series at the moment, or watching my kids play football or go to training and stuff. So most of the time is spent with the kids.
Okay. And one of your kids is a professional footballer, is that right?
No, he's not getting paid, so you can't really call him a professional footballer.
But he's good,
isn't he? All three can play football, so as long as they enjoy it, they can pursue whatever they want.
Can carry on. Did Ollie play with Ronaldo?
Yeah, I played. He's got a couple of assists for me, and I've got a couple for him. So, and I got the pleasure of coaching him when I had to retire. So, fantastic professional. He came to us when I was 30, and of course, I'm just trying to get my first team place secured. Bex had gone to Real Madrid. I started the season when Cristiano came to us, but then I got injured early on. So, but fantastic human being and an unbelievable player. When
he came in, because obviously he's gone on to have a phenomenal career, one of the greatest players of all time, could you see straight away how good he was going to become?
Definitely. You could see it straight away when we played against him.
Really? Yeah.
Sporting Lisbon. We'd just been to the US pre-season tour and we played him. I played in front of John O'Shea, so I was on the right wing, John O'Shea was right back, and Cristiano was left wing for them. I think we gave him the move. I think he just ran circles around us. He was, and the boys just said, we need to sign him.
What a great feature.
A man who will be happy with a Chelsea loss right now. Do we back Manchester United to recover from their dodgy start and get into the top four, boys? I mean, that would represent sizable progress. They've been out of the Champions League, 3 times in the last 4 years? Jackson, start of the season, I think unanimously we thought Arsenal would probably finish above them. Not the case anymore, probably.
No, I don't think they'll get anywhere near top 4.
United?
Yeah, I don't think they'll get near top 4.
I think the thing with that is United will keep Ollie to the end of the season, I think, regardless, just because of the hole they've dug, where Arsenal will probably get rid of Emre, new manager boost, and maybe look to
don't get me wrong, they'll be a lot better once Paul Pogba gets back fit. But I think they're a long... to be honest, I think just 4 better teams.
Yeah. Well, McTominay out for tomorrow's game. He's been pretty essential for them. I mean, Chelsea off to a brilliant start under Sarri last season. Let's not forget that. So it's not beyond them to have a little bit of a rough patch, let's say, and maybe their position in the top 4 become a little bit more up for question. Leicester, like we've said, if Vardy gets injured, And if Pogba is to return and have that level of influence, Glenn, do you think it's beyond them? You know, if they've got Martial firing, Rashford firing, beyond them to sneak back into the Champions League places, or?
Yeah, no, I can't see it, to be honest. I think they'll improve over the season. I don't think they're going to be this bad for until May, but I think Tottenham are going to get there.
Tottenham under Jose. Whew. Still so weird seeing him in that purple get-up, isn't it?
It does sound weird, yeah. It does sound weird.
So when he said, obviously he was questioned about this in his presser, wasn't he? I'd never manage Tottenham Hotspur. And he said, I said that before I got the sack, you know, which to an extent is fair enough. When you first heard the rumours circulating, did you find it as unbelievable as other people, you know, who hadn't worked under him?
No, not at all. Because it's his football at the end of the day, in the sense that when people are in certain positions, they can only say certain things. Of course, while he's at Chelsea, he can't say he's going to manage Tottenham, can he? So, but then sometimes people say stuff and it comes back to bite him a few years later. But look, he's obviously a top manager outside the game, and Tottenham's a club that will be going places. So at the end of the day, he's got to do what's best for himself.
Fair play. Well, I don't mean to steal your thunder, but producer Phil has put together a very special quiz for us. Instead of a question before the big game kicks off again, we've got a quiz for everyone to partake in.
Yeah.
And it's, can you name the 8 players to have played for both sides, both of these sides? Please play along with us. Get your guesses in the comments below. In the Premier League era.
Frank Lampard.
Yes.
Frank Sterling?
Lampard. There's 8 in total.
It's like
just to
QPR.
reiterate, Raheem Sterling is not one, Will. Keep the guesses coming thick and fast. You two guys at home in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed, you know, because we love a football quiz around here.
Bridgie.
Wayne
Bridge, yeah.
Yeah. Is he there?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sean Wright-Phillips.
Maybe 9 players.
I've not got him down. So what's happened is I've been
Sean
thrown clean
Wright-Phillips.
under the bus.
Yep.
Sean Wright-Phillips, yes.
Yes, that's 3.
Not got one yet.
Out of 9. Not 8. This is going well.
Hey, this is why I'm the Stat Wars champion, bro.
You actually beat me on Stat Wars, didn't
I'll
you?
beat everyone this season.
That's our quiz on Eurofootball Daily. If you're not subscribed to
Nicholas
Eurofootball
Anelka from the comment.
Anelka, yeah, good shout.
From FM.
Nicholas Anelka, yes.
Geez, guys.
Well,
Kevin De Bruyne.
Well done, FMDs, guys. Yes, Kevin De
That's
Bruyne.
from Best Brother.
OK, how many missing? 1, 2.
I do love a quiz. Daniel Sturridge.
Yep.
No.
What?
Yes.
I've not got him down there.
Oh, Charlie's chucking right under the bus here.
Apparently.
Chelsea and City, yeah, that is Daniel Sturridge.
Yeah.
He was in City's youth system,
There's
wasn't he?
another
So, of course.
striker.
Wembridge we've had. Sturridge we've had. Willie Caballero.
So when we said 8, we meant 10. Willie Caballero is a great guess. Thank you for bringing that back to someone that is actually down on the sheet.
That was from, I can't take the credit from that. That was from Carlos. Well done.
You said that like you were prepared to take credit for it.
I do that and then I let see if guilt sits on me and then...
OK, so who was that so we can give him a shout out?
That was from Carlos. Another one from Lawrence Moore is
Carlos.
Steve Sidwell. Don't think he played for Man City.
Sid doesn't play for City.
Well, I just don't know anymore because my faith in what is now is absolutely shaken, lads. It's shot to bits. I can reveal that Terry Phelan is one of them.
Who? Any relation to Mike?
Left back who played for the Republic of Ireland at the '94 World Cup and became Britain's most expensive defender when he joined from Wimbledon in 1992. So there's something you didn't think you'd be hearing on this show.
Good friend of yours, Glenn, obviously. Tony Phelan, what was his name?
Terry Phelan, yeah.
Tony!
Top guys, well done. We've got Scott Sinclair and George West down.
Scott Sinclair!
I thought is that it then? You've given it away?
Yes, I have, Dave.
Well, we wouldn't have
I
got...
love the question.
I've forgotten the guy's name. We wouldn't have got Terry Phelan.
There's probably sort of a 5 that we...
What I've tried to do there is host the quiz and I've ended up being humiliated. All right? Jordan Dog, we're not going for a drink after the game.
Tell Ben Haim.
Yes.
Play for both.
He did, yeah.
He did. Put that on your list.
Phil, there's loads of them, Charlie.
This is literally the worst quiz ever.
Steve Jones, well done.
I've heard that Phil's left the building. Excellent. Right, they're about ready to kick off again. Ignore the last 5 minutes, because I certainly will.
Chris, I bet that bit doesn't make the best bit, does it?
Yeah. just you lot going, Chris, come on. All right, here we go.
We learned about a new left back as well today.
Yeah. The biggest take.
Tony
takeaway from today.
Most expensive defender, wasn't it? Was something.
Terry Phelan, yeah. More than a Mike.
All right. I mean,
you all right, mate?
Not after that. I'm a little bit shell-shocked, as you know. Chelsea are normally when they play against City because they've lost the last 5 out of 6. Will, so you know, let's see if they can reverse that. And we're back into the flow of things. We're back into the game. So let's get some fan questions.
There's been 0 substitutions, just so you know.
Well, yes, Dave, that was one of the questions coming up. Glenn, assessing what you know, what would you make any changes going forward into the second half for either team? Bench-wise, we've got Mount, Batshuayi, Giroud for Chelsea, Jesus, Gundogan.
Sorry, what was that last one?
Phil Foden for Man City.
No, I think both teams would be relatively happy at the minute. I don't think you're not going to make a change right now, but let's see what happens over the next 20 minutes. But right now, I'd keep both sides as they are.
Stinks of Jesus getting bored.
Were you ever carted off at half-time?
No, not at half-time, no.
Because that must be, you know, when the substitution's made at half-time, if it comes off, the manager, you know, he's given all the credit in the world, but as the player who's brought off at half-time, you must be absolutely reeling.
Oh, you'd be fuming, yeah. Yeah, you would be fuming. But funny enough, I was playing with Bridgie and... what was it, Bridgie? Might have been Bridgie and Wright Phillips where Mourinho took him off after 30 minutes.
Yeah. What game was that in?
Fulham?
Oh. Against Fulham as well. Fulham. Was that a matter of, did the team just have to be like, listen, lads?
No, I think it was more to send a message, to be honest.
Okay.
They wasn't that bad.
What, they were like the cannon fodder?
Yeah.
Right,
that was the thing that time, wasn't it? Everything Jose did just seemed to be the right thing.
Yeah.
He just everything.
Yeah, the Midas touch, didn't he?
Yeah. But
who did you play with? I don't want to, you have to name any names if you're not comfortable with it, Glenn. But who reacted the worst to being substituted off that you played with in your long illustrious career, Glenn? He's got a name.
Yeah, of course. You know what? Yeah, but not because it's a bad thing. It was actually that Matai Kesman. Okay. But not bad sub in general. It's just this one incident, and I was sad because he spoke about it in the press anyway. But yeah, I think it was a Champions League game, and he hadn't been getting much time to play, and I think he started the game and then took off too early, shall we say, and we walked into a smashed-up dressing room.
I love that. Oh, it's fucking brilliant. Dave, I love it. And that's the sort of thing where Dave would be like, there's not enough of that in football anymore. I want one of those Arsenal players to do it.
Everything.
No, that's the thing. You see so many players now. You've been told you're not good. Like, you shouldn't be happy. Like, you know, I'm not saying you smashed the dressing room up. No wrong, but it's like there's even like today when we look at Arsenal, it's like you've been told by your manager you're doing it to get reaction just as much as it is to try and change the game.
But at least he's got some passion and want to do well.
Oh, yeah,
you know
exactly.
Not one of them Arsenal players today would have walked off like that. They wouldn't care. They would have got in a car and just disappeared.
Yeah.
But at least he cared about his performance. He was upset with himself. That's why it happens. Yeah. It's not a reaction because he's angry about being substituted. Yeah. It's because he weren't happy with his own performance. Do you know what I mean? So, but at least he cares and wants to.
Cares, yeah.
Was Mourinho sort of the manager that'd be forgiven of a reaction like that as well because he liked, passionate players? Or was
he'd probably enjoy to see that. Yeah. Well, if he walked in and Kesman was laughing and joking with himself, that's not a reaction you'd want to see, is it?
No.
So, although you don't want to see
everyone's clothes are strewn across the floor, yeah.
But other than that, at least he cares.
Right, okay. We almost saw Riyad Mahrez, cutting in yet again and scoring there, but we do have a price boost on a different player. Yes. Still an attacking threat. It's Raheem Sterling to score the 4th goal in this game at 11-2. Odds accurate at the time of recording and subject to change. Go and check out the website for the latest odds and more details. You have to be 18 plus to play along, like we said before, like we'll say again. We're all 18 plus here, so, do we think that's a decent punt? Raheem Sterling, he's not really threatened as much as Mahrez in this game, has he?
I think it's definitely worth a tenner, mate.
It could be
Dave's spoken. Dave has spoken.
That's it.
There we go. Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
Let's get back on him because what a 2019 he's had.
Yeah.
Glenn, would it be a nightmare to play against him at current as a fullback?
Yeah.
What would you do? Pre-game, what are you thinking? Like, how do I deal with this guy?
Well, you just need to get close to him as the ball arrives. You can't let him sort of find his flow and start enjoying the game. You need to sort of deliver a few blows to him early on and try and...
What,
I was going to say...
Little dig?
Not so much as a dig, but...
Charlie Horse on the side?
A little heavy tackle, should I say. Or bend the rules a little bit.
I was going to say, how long before you revert to that? Because I'm thinking like opening 10 minutes.
I think it has to be first thing. Your first
it's the
tackle.
first.
We know you do. That's bang up your street.
On the corner as well, little stand on the toes maybe.
No, I don't do all that.
You've stood on a few toes, Glenn.
No, I haven't, mate. I don't do that.
Yeah.
I might have slowed
Holding a
down
few
in a few
ponytails.
runs to land some tackles, but
Who was it like?
stand on people's toes.
A master of dark art, so to speak, that you played with, that was good at stuff like that. We asked Ryan Mason about this. Who did Ryan Mason say? Or I think he was saying that England need a player like that. Like a Sergio Busquets, who's just like, bang, on the halfway line, stop dead.
Well, the thing was, when obviously we was learning the game, that was the game.
Yeah.
It was heavy collisions and tackles and
Being physical.
not dirty fouls
Yeah.
or nasty tackles to injure anyone, but there was a lot of heavy tackles where you can leave a bit on someone. And like I say, training, it was almost an art that to leave one on your opponent, you could time the run slightly different and make sure you get the ball on the player. But obviously now the game's totally changed and obviously you can't do that. But there's still lads out there that, it's now a tactical foul, isn't it? Like you say, on the halfway line that pulls on a shirt.
So is there a name who you thought was like really good at that? And like you said, like physicality was a thing that was championed early on in the English game. So it's not like saying, oh, this player was a particularly nasty player, but just someone who was just great at alleviating that pressure on your side and stuff like that.
Yeah, Lucas Leiva was good.
He's still good now at Lazio.
He, in fact, he's very underrated.
Yeah.
We that year we didn't win the league was probably due to the fact when we lost him.
Really? You think? Yeah.
He does because he
Oh, Willian.
what he does is so underrated,
Sterling.
but he's so important for the team.
No, it's interesting you say that because he won Lazio's Player of the Season in his first season, and people thought, it's an odd move, like him going to another club challenging for Champions League place. Because, like you say, his qualities went underappreciated. So you think you missed him when he
Well, all the top teams need a player like him.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be as good at West Ham or Palace or someone like that. When you got a player like him in the team, that's when the fullbacks can just go and do what you like.
Yeah.
Because
you're like, Lucas is back there, I'm all right.
Yeah, because either he'll slot in for you, or if he's getting the ball off the other fullback, I would be already sprinting before he's even got the ball, because he's just going to turn out and keep the game moving.
I love it. Not enough appreciation for players like that on this show. Lucas Leiva, if you're watching, why wouldn't you be? Shout out.
Probably having a glass of wine.
Is he onside?
Great save. On the subject of players like that.
Wow.
Kante's
I might be wrong.
a level above, almost getting in again there. Chelsea getting in down the right-hand side. Willian, who's been great at the start of the season, orchestrating that move. Just to confirm, Rodri off, Gundogan on. Rodri shaking his head like he didn't want to be substituted, but then it looked a little bit more like he was shaking his head at disbelief at being injured again.
Yeah, he was doing it. He was doing it
Yeah.
pre-board, so I think he knew he had some sort of injury. So,
So disappointing for him because he's battled to get back.
Well, that's big for City as well because they brought Rodri in to replace Fernandinho or have him as like a backup. Fernandinho's at the back, so especially in the bigger games without a Fernandinho or a Rodri, that's a massive gap for City.
Gundogan a very able replacement, but if he was to pick up a knock, they are starting to look very, very thin in that area.
I think he's good in those more in the games where they're not under the cosh a bit more.
Yeah, I actually think he's a little bit underappreciated in the same way that Glenn was talking about Lucas Leiva, Gundogan, because he seems to be, when things aren't going right for City, the fans give him some pelters. But on his days, exceptional player with a vast array of qualities. Look at him here. Lovely. Thank you for that. Gundogan right on cue. Let's have some more questions then for the gentleman on a sofa after this Manchester City attack. Almost went all the way through. Kevin De Bruyne loves that right-hand side, doesn't he? Loves it.
Yeah, one here from Caleb Anders. He says, do you think Liverpool will be able to hold on to the first spot? But more intriguingly, do you think they'll be able to remain undefeated? Obviously, last year there was only that one defeat to City, Glenn. Do we think we'll see the invincibles of Anfield?
I would bet not.
No.
But not because they haven't been playing well enough or anything like that. I just think it's a long season and the Premier League's tough. You only got to be performing at 70%, and then don't matter who you're playing, they can beat you. So it'd be unbelievable if they can go the whole season unbeaten.
Yeah, I agree with Glenn. To do it in the Premier League era now would be almost unprecedented, given teams in the mid-table can spend 40, 50 million pound on the player.
Yeah, exactly.
Everton lost to Norwich today, and they, bought Richarlison, bought Gylfi Sigurdsson for the best part of 100 million pound, and they're like crazy stuff. It's just finding ways to loop this back to Marco Silva getting a sack, aren't we? It's getting a little bit negative. Will, that's a good question, mate.
One that we haven't spoke about. Oh no!
What happened there, Will?
Short corner, Chelsea switched off. I think it was Cancelo with the shot. Should have done better, and then it was cleared away by Chelsea. Still playing on here.
What a battle that is, Kante versus Sterling.
Three of the smallest players in the Premier League having a little battle there.
One that we haven't spoke because we ourselves had an international break. I don't want to speak about the incident itself, Glenn, but obviously it's been well documented the beef that Gomez and Sterling had. But I just wondered if there was any sort of encounters you'd seen like that were dealt with maybe on international duty or even in the.
Yeah, loads.
Is that why were you almost surprised to see it being such a public thing?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there'd be. Everyone's seen stuff in training, dressing rooms, where it's a game or whatever. That sort of stuff happens all the time.
Kesman,
I guess the only
just smashing everything up. Come here, Glenn.
I guess the only thing I guess is that stuff just don't get out.
Yeah.
And usually it happen in the heat of the moment, and then people will be like shaking hands after, sorry, whatever, and they certainly don't carry it on to the next day.
Yeah.
That's the only strange bit, I guess.
And did you think, when you saw like Raheem Sterling come out and clarify the issue on Twitter after, and I think it was Souness, no, it was Roy Keane, of course it was Roy Keane, saying that, why should a player have to come out and apologise? Do you think that was the right thing to do from a more modern player's perspective? Do you almost have to extinguish these fires now on social media, or do you just think, you didn't have to apologise, he's within his rights to fall out of a teammate?
Yeah, well, I think it totally depends on the player's situation. If I've done that and I'm not sorry, I'm not going to apologise. But Raheem obviously thought that he was out of order, and he apologised that night, didn't he? I think it was after the game, wasn't it, that he tweeted something. So it's down to whatever the player wants to do. But no, of course you don't have to apologise. If you feel like what you've done was warranted, then you shouldn't have to apologise. No. But the only way it kicked off the next day, I can only think, is maybe because obviously he apologised that night, so he's obviously calmed down and thought, I'll try and do the right thing and apologise and sort of put it to bed, as he said in the tweet. But I can only imagine that he's gone into camp the next day and the Liverpool lads have given him a bit of stick, just probably only through banter, but he's probably then tipped him back over the edge because, like I say, it don't normally carry over to the next day.
Yeah, and I mean, the pressure these guys must be under as well, competing at the top of the Premier League. Yeah. Adds a little bit.
That's the thing. It's
spice.
It's like they're having a little row, but who cares?
Yeah.
They're two good lads in a massive match that both want to win. So you haven't got to like everyone you play with or play against.
Is it almost like just because England have been so harmonious for such a long time that the press are just like sinking their teeth into
This
something?
I don't understand. I couldn't understand why Southgate made it so public. Just leave it. Let it go. What happens in the things can happen. Because also, if we weren't playing Kosovo, no way does Sterling get dropped.
100%.
No way.
I said that the other week. 100%. If that was a big, an important qualifier,
Euro semi-final,
no
chance. It don't come out.
Yeah.
It don't get suspended. Because it is also the suspension was a bit stupid. It's like, you haven't done anything that bad, so we'll only suspend you for one game. Because if it's that bad, you get sent home.
Yeah.
Don't say, what you've done is kind of a bit unacceptable. You're going to miss this game, but play the next one. It's kind of a nonsense.
Halfway house sort of thing.
Yes, nothing. You either done something bad or you haven't. Do you know what I mean?
Just to clarify, Reece James has just come on for Emerson, and Reece James is another player who will a bit of an outside shout for being included in the 2020 squad owing to his form at the start of the season. Raheem's in.
Give it a go.
Raheem's in the box. He's taken about 4 touches there.
Give it a Guerrero.
And that is Mahrez trying to weave his way through the Chelsea defence. It's all looking a bit chaotic now. And it's petered out. That is so annoying. Because City were in such a promising position now. We wanted to see, we've almost gone 15 minutes without a goal. I'm getting annoyed, Glenn. What's going on?
Turn it over.
All right. Let's get some more questions in.
One here from Tab. He says, Glenn, who was the best player you played with during your time at Chelsea? He mentions names such as Lampard and Drogba.
It's a hard one.
I mean, it's a good team to pick for.
Well, the team was a joke.
Yeah.
And obviously Abramovich was buying absolutely everyone, so it's hard to pick one. But
what's Abramovich like? Did you get to spend much time with him?
He's a nice fella, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How's his yacht?
We never got to go on it because the night
Glenn.
got cancelled.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we was actually meant to go on it on the night we played Monaco in the semi-final of Champions League. But we got a honking result, so we cancelled it.
Oh, did it?
nice.
Just drove off.
Yeah,
left you.
just left.
Yeah,
it.
see, that's shocking.
Just waving.
Yeah.
We're just the other side of the bridge. Just tipped it in and walked off. You can swim across if you want to come on.
But now, going back to the question, I'd say one of them would be Robin.
Oh,
Yeah, because mate, when he burst onto the scene, he could score whenever he wanted. He was a joke.
Just remember him with his receding hairline, nice pair of F50s on.
Yeah.
That smells of that era.
His first few goals was like he picked the ball up in the halfway line, didn't he? And just burst through everyone and just scored. And he looked like he could do that whenever he wanted.
Yeah, it kind of moved it like a little bit Sterling-esque, you know. It's not obviously not the wrists, but like that just quick change of direction, that little like almost untidy shuffle. But yeah, it was until I think it wasn't it Pulisic and then Tammy Abraham, but until this season. And you forget like just how young he was as well when he was at Chelsea. That's a great shot. Lucas Leiva, I am Robin. All the purest choice here, Glenn. Class. Is there anyone else you want to give a special mention to?
Did you think when Drogba came in, because obviously he came from the French league, sometimes we've seen players come over here and not adapt, and obviously, did you think Drogba would have the illustrious career he did?
No.
Was it evident from day one?
No, probably wouldn't have thought he'd be as good as he was.
No.
But that's not.
Yeah.
That's saying because how good he was, you know. So, but if you've got a perfect physique for the Premier League, then it's Drogba.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he was always going to find his feet eventually, and then, as you saw, start throwing defenders.
Philippe Senderos, yeah, absolutely ruined him. He's never ever the same player against Drogba.
It's like Vidic and Torres.
Yeah.
What about, like conversely, then on the flip side, players that join with massive reputations, like Shevchenko. I think the question's setting Glenn up here. No, but players like Crespo and Shevchenko that came as like world-class players and just didn't have, and Varane as well, and just didn't have that same effect.
Yeah, it's odd. Well, even Torres. I was with Torres at Liverpool, and he was ridiculous. But then he went to Chelsea, similar like to the lads you just mentioned. For whatever reason, it didn't tick. But Sheva was the mad one because the year before that, we played Milan in the pre-season, and the game was a decent game. But he came on, scored 2, and won the game on his own. He was incredible. And obviously, as a young kid, you know, we used to watch Sheva growing up, and then I think now he's coming to Chelsea. Can't wait to see him training and like literally in awe of him. And literally, you couldn't believe it's the same fella. Yeah, it was mad. It was mad. But I don't know if it's confidence or what. But
What, was he not even that good in training either?
no,
It's just
not for the level we're used to.
Yeah.
you sort of a few players like that. It's just, you know, like you mentioned Torres, like Kaká, who like injury, they still got big money moves after their injuries had kind of robbed them of the player they once were. And that was mad. Varane as well, like what a footballer.
He was unbelievable. Like he in training, he was unbelievable. Like ridiculous. You could watch him all day. Watch him all day.
Who did we have? I think it was Andy. Was it Andy Cole that said? Might have been Andy Cole that said Varane was just an unbelievable professional.
Yeah.
Like is that the impression you got at Chelsea as well?
Well, I don't know about the professional bit, but
Might have been good.
in terms of the performances, then it was just literally beautiful to watch. You know, every touch was immaculate. And like I say, what was I, 18 at the time or 19?
Because he was like a Claudio signing, wasn't he? And then obviously when Jose came in, he wanted Jose wanted players that would play for him, wasn't it? Kind of thing. Like so, he kind of moved him on. We went on loan, didn't he? And then
that's right.
Now you've said that, I think the actual anecdote.
what a save!
What a save, Kepa.
Riyad Mahrez almost in his 50th goal there. Kepa saving just underneath the crossbar. I actually think I got the anecdote totally wrong. And it was John O'Shea saying that he was like entertaining
what's a
and
save,
like, good on a night out with Varane, which makes more sense given what you've just said. I think I'm getting my anecdotes, getting my wires crossed there. But get Sheva and get Varane in the studio. Phil, you working on it now or what? All right, he's on it. Unai Emery still in the job, Phil? Still in the job.
Check ears.
All right. Chelsea a little bit under the cosh here. Dave, have you been watching the game more attentively than I have? Or?
Yeah, I think City are just starting to really grab a hold of it now. Krause is struggling to get out of their half a little bit. I think it might be time for a change for Chelsea. I don't know who they could come in that maybe is going to give them more of like possession.
Mount?
I don't know. Maybe it's a Mason. Maybe it's a Mason Mount. But yeah, I think Frank kind of needs to do something here. You can only see City just getting the third goal, and that's the end of the game.
Yeah. Still in the game though. What do the people think in the comments? Are they giving Chelsea a chance in this? Or are they saying Chelsea should switch things up? Have we got any?
People just want a bit more impetus from Chelsea. I think we're going to be looking at that bench. We talked about it there. Mason Mount, Batshuayi, Pedro's on there as well.
Yeah, he's a very good player for this occasion.
I think the thing is, it's not like they're getting overwhelmed. It's not like they're playing bad. They're just getting a bit overwhelmed at the moment. Like, you know, City are starting to turn the like screw a little bit. So I think it needs to maybe be a bit of fresh legs or something.
Wow.
I love this. Coming on. Foden's getting more than 3 minutes in the Premier League. Love it.
That's big. 25 minutes in a big game for Phil Foden.
Has he still got a slit in his eyebrow? That's what I want to know. That's what the people back home want to know.
He's got a little scar on his face. It's like Ryan having a go at him. He's going to pop at everyone.
I was thinking that in my head. I was like, shall I say it? Nah, you said it. And that's why you're here, Dave. Right,
Silva.
David Silva was looking like he was struggling there, looking like he had cramp, and
so that's 2 subs for
on comes the heir to his throne, Phil Foden, who has literally accepted another season on the bench because the Maestro, his nickname's Merlin, isn't it? Is seeing out his last year at the club. We got any questions while Phil Foden frantically chases the ball down?
Yeah, some more for Glenn. Keep getting them in using the hashtag TFS and get them in at Football Daily, at Soccer Glenn, which stage of your career did you personally feel was your best? And that's from Mr. AVV.
That's a good question.
Probably the crossover between Portsmouth and Liverpool, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that when you had braids?
Yes.
Oh, that's Pete Glenn Johnson. Come on.
No, I only had that for a bet.
Did you actually?
Yeah. I never had long hair really, but it was actually my mate. He was getting married. I think it was two years from the day we set the bet. And we just sat in a pub somewhere, and he just said, out of the blue, he said, if I didn't cut my hair until his wedding, that he would dye his hair blonde for the wedding.
No.
Yeah. So
I played him as well.
So, yeah.
Might not have been a wedding if that happened.
Yeah.
What was that time like at Pompey? Because, I mean, looking back on it now from where they are and having Harry Redknapp and all the players that you did, was it a crazy time down there?
Yeah.
That's
brilliant.
a wry smile. That.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Obviously, we had an unbelievable team. We used to batter most teams, really. I think we finished 6th and obviously won the FA Cup. And it was just a great bunch of lads, like top lads.
Was it the TY on the Portsmouth shirt at that point in time with a little love heart as a sponsor? Was it after that?
A bit after, yeah.
Oh, that's a vintage Portsmouth kit. But yeah, that was a great team. So what about that team was so special? Why did you all click so quickly?
Well, I think it's because we had that dressing room of decent lads. Like I say, everyone got on. Everyone made time for each other off the pitch, and I think that can sometimes be the difference. We look forward to the games, and you enjoyed every minute of the game as well. And when you're willing to run that extra yard for your mate, it can, like I say, it can be the big difference.
Was one of the main calling cards to go down there Harry Redknapp?
Say again, mate.
Was the main calling card to go down there Harry Redknapp?
Yeah. Because I was about to go abroad somewhere. I can't think where I was going to go, but Harry, I went to speak to Harry, and he was just like, look, obviously you're going to play every week here and stay relevant in the Premier League, and spoke a lot of sense. So, thought, yeah, why not?
I haven't been to Fratton Park yet. Is the atmosphere as raucous? Is it as good as people make out?
It is good.
Yeah,
it is good. Yeah, because even if you're getting pumped, it's still good. So they're always singing and enjoy the day out. So, and obviously we gave them a good couple of years. So. Yeah. At least they could enjoy that, because I'm sure they're not enjoying it at the moment.
Yeah, because it's a really old school ground, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, we've witnessed their demise in recent years. I mean, the fans have bought them now; they're in the ascendancy again. But how difficult was it to see, one of your old clubs sort of bottom out, so to speak?
It's tough, especially when there's so many good people there. It's just, even though our team was good, it was still odd because it was like no one knew who owned the club, and
Really?
the guy that seemed to be running it
A little bit murky.
found out it was strange. It was strange.
Do you know anything about the story? I can't remember who I spoke to. There's a story about Portsmouth that for 6 days they were owned by someone, allegedly, and they still can't prove today if he was a real person.
It wouldn't surprise me, mate.
Would it not?
It wouldn't surprise me. No one knew what was going on. We actually found it funny. Obviously,
It'll be bundled into a van after this.
if you don't see me, no, it's it's odd. Like that you can even be saying that about a Premier League side. That
It's crazy, isn't it?
it is crazy. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, mate.
I've got another transfer-related question of my own. Was it true that you could have...
After that Portsmouth period, it was Chelsea and Liverpool were both back in for you.
And City.
Well, Chelsea were back in for you, Liverpool were in for you, and so you decided on Liverpool.
Chelsea were before Liverpool.
Oh, okay. So why did you choose to go to Liverpool after that sort of year you had at Portsmouth?
Just because it was fresh, new, the way you could hear the tone in their voice how much they wanted me to go there, and obviously I'd been at Chelsea, and you never know. Sometimes you've got to be careful what you wish for, because of course I would have loved to have gone back, but you never. Sometimes doing what your heart wants ain't the right thing, you know. So no, I wanted a new challenge, and they showed that they'd done everything they possibly could to get me to sign there. So, and I appreciated the effort, sort of thing. So I thought I'd try and give a bit back.
Yeah, you were there for 6 seasons, weren't you?
6 or 7.
So, I think certainly when I pictured your career, it's like, Chelsea is the predominant image that I have of your career. But 6 seasons at Liverpool, one of the biggest clubs in the world, is that? I mean, how was that kind of whole period there? Because the club, obviously you went to second place, shades of what's happening now at Liverpool, but then the season after finished 7th, I believe, 7th or 8th. So I just wanted to ask you basically about the mindset of these players coming into this season off the back of almost winning the league. How difficult was it for your team almost winning the league and then trying to get going again? Same level of motivation.
It's not hard to get yourself going, but we didn't have the squad that they've got. So when we nearly won the league, we didn't really have the right to. In terms of no one would have said that at the start of the year, and you wouldn't even have said it 3 months into the season.
It was that mental run, wasn't it?
It was after Christmas. We dropped 20 points before Christmas, and that's not a title-winning form, is it? So, we just went on. I think it was a 16-game unbeaten from Christmas. So, and the only points we dropped was against Palace and Chelsea. I think it was maybe a couple of draws. I can't quite remember. But no, so it's not hard to pick yourself up the season after, but with the squad we had, 4th and 5th was probably more realistic anyway.
Okay, so somewhere in the middle of that 2nd and 7th place finish, that's where you felt that Liverpool squad
that's
belonged.
where I think that squad would have.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Will, what we got?
We've got plenty of questions coming in. We've got how long have we got left? We've got 15 minutes left, so get your questions in at Football Daily, at SoccerAM, using the hashtag TFS. Glenn, and the panel as well. Who was your bit of nostalgia in the room? Oh, come on, Aguero! Who was your favourite player to watch growing up? Or a few different eras.
Me?
Well, I'm just saying there's different players that I was watching Premier League years yesterday, and just some fantastic names that came up. Amir Zaki.
Amir Zaki, that run he had at Wigan.
Was it like Wigan?
Wigan, little boss. But obviously,
Wigan, I think.
I enjoyed watching him, but he wasn't my favourite player growing up. Who was yours? Shevchenko, Glenn?
He would have been up there, yeah. No, I'd say Del Piero. Del Piero or Desailly.
That sort of Italianati.
Yeah, because remember, back then, the Italia League used to be on Sunday mornings, didn't it?
The old
so that's
James Richardson.
I used to watch that. So
I went for a run the other day in Manchester, turned left onto the canal, and James Richardson was there filming. I shook his hand and I said he had a good podcast, and he wished me well on his run.
I did not think that's where that question was going.
True story.
Nah, fair play.
I wouldn't make it up.
Sergio Aguero limping there, not good for your fantasy team, by the by. It looks like he might have to come off. You captained him as well.
Captained him as well, yeah.
Dave, did you answer?
Favourite player as a kid was Patrick Vieira. I love him. The amount of times I saw him just refused to lose and pick that Arsenal team up. He was just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Absolutely lovely.
Him again, just probably the one world-class player we've had in the last 20 years. But
If you looked at it objectively, do you think he stayed at Celtic too long?
yeah. I think Celtic stuck by him after he broke his leg.
What's the reasoning for you supporting Celtic?
Just a family curse, really, mate. I'm from Leicester, but the rest of my family are from Glasgow. That sounds like I was raised, like I raised myself in Leicester while the rest of my family are in Glasgow. No, that's where my lineage, my heritage is. But yeah, Henrik Larsson was just unbelievable. He broke his leg, and then I think Manchester United had come in for him before, and he turned it down. Actually, should have stayed there longer. Should have won more top trophies. But did all right in the Champions League final against you boys, didn't he?
He did, mate.
Just find a way to dig out Arsenal with every single question. Yes. God's sake. Well, you need to stop having a tantrum, mate, because that's Dave's territory.
Sorry, mate, but it's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Sergio. But that's 3 separate injuries for City there. 3 separate players have gone off with injuries, yeah?
Glenn, back to you. Which manager did you prefer and why did you like their style during your career? Obviously, you had quite a few different ones.
Yeah, I'd probably say Benitez.
Yes? What was he like? Which way did he? Was he more the motivator or the tactician or the?
Yeah, tactician. He wasn't so much like the man's man, if you know what I mean. But he knew how to beat a team, knew how to set the team up well, and he didn't try to be everyone's mate. He wanted to do his job and expected everyone else to do the same. So.
So did he get that respect? Because he was like, I'm not trying to be everyone's friend, I'm the boss.
Yeah, and I quite like that.
Yeah.
In the sense that he weren't trying to be someone else. He was just being himself, So because sometimes, it's like if someone's trying to, you can smell it, can't you? And it's uncomfortable if someone's just trying to be like a bit too much when it's not natural.
Going on that a little bit, maybe not so now, but when Brendan Rodgers was in charge of Liverpool, we've all seen the famous thing with the envelope. He hasn't got that reputation now, but was he trying a little bit too hard at first at Liverpool?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I think because obviously he loves Mourinho so much,
right,
and he's copied so much that I think he's just trying to be him rather than be himself. Even down to the point where even swearing sometimes in training in Portuguese. And all the lads are like, but once he realised and was himself, which he is now, then
travelling out of body experience.
Kicks on, yeah.
Wow.
You can imagine it being pretty easy to get like sucked up in a Jose Mourinho cult, can't you? Yeah, that is a great anecdote. Brendan Rodgers is swearing Portuguese. That's absolutely made my year, mate.
What did you think when he brought out the 2 envelopes at the time? Did you see through that straight away?
No, not so much at the time. No, because you're just thinking like, where's this going?
Right. Yeah. Do you think you won the postcode lottery when he brought that out? Or?
No,
definitely when it spoke, was it?
It's just one of those things. Yeah, it's just one of those things where he's just. At least he's trying to think outside the box, you know what I mean? Yeah. At least he's trying to do something.
Was it because, like you said, he was a great tactician or great at like making you understand tactics, that you gave him that leeway for being a little bit eccentric?
Yeah, and there was loads of things he'd done outside the box that was kind of intelligent in a way.
Yeah.
Not all of them come off, obviously, but there was. But at least he's thinking outside the.
The flip side of that, just to carry on with the managerial run, when you had Tony Pulis, I heard Michael Owen speaking about it.
I actually never had Tony Pulis.
Did you never have Tony Pulis?
No.
Who was it, Mark Hughes?
Yeah, Hughes signed me at Stoke.
Do you like Tony Pulis?
I don't know. I certainly don't like the way he got Stoke to play. I don't,
no.
Yeah. But no, I don't know him at all.
How difficult? I mean, you came in with Mark Hughes, but was there still like an element of Pulis ball that Mark Hughes had to iron out when he came in?
No, because I would have definitely not signed him. No, they wanted to. They wanted to play football.
Yeah.
So it was all right. It suited me.
I once played FIFA Ultimate Team with Tony Pulis.
How have we not talked about this before? How has this not?
It was a FIFA-based opportunity. I went in dressed in full tracksuit as Tony Pulis.
Bang it! Oh, it's got it! Oh my God!
Willian there, but an absolute rasper of a strike from outside the box. I think that's the first time Ederson's been called into action second half, right? Pulisic setting him up, drifting him from the left like he does. What?
Has he saved it?
Has he touched it?
I think he's touched it.
Tips.
What? He teed it up for a bit of a half volley. Ederson's... Yeah, he has. He's tipped over.
If that's Glenn, that's in.
He had to save it.
Was he not give a corner?
Oh, no.
Oh,
Where's VAR for that, then?
Let's get the...
You can not use it for that, no?
I feel like... Do we go back to the conversation about you playing FIFA with Pulis? Yeah, let's do it.
I went in full tracksuit. He didn't laugh at the joke, so immediately we were on the back foot. And I gave
Face has dropped. He's gone, oh dear.
I gave him 20 packs to open. Obviously, as a aging man, he didn't understand FIFA Ultimate Team, and we were getting people like Benzema to make his team, and he was like, oh, no, I don't want him. And then Andy Carroll comes out and he's like, I'll take him. And he was...
there with his gravelly tones down to it.
He was an interesting character.
Let's...
That's all I say on that.
Let's get James Beattie on the Football Social, because I want to discuss that naked headbutt.
James Beattie's at Blues, mate, so I would not like to see him on a Football Social if that's all right.
OK, fair enough. Let's move this on to some more questions then.
Who have you played FIFA? No, I'm joking. Lots of questions coming in. We're on to the final 10 minutes. We've got Glenn Johnson on the sofa, so get your questions in for him. Gents, we've got about 10 minutes left, but who's been your standout player so far?
Probably Kevin De Bruyne. I think he's been a difference.
Yeah?
Yeah. He's always shown, always wanted the ball. But it's not been a great second half, if I'm being honest, considering how good the first half was.
Well, considering we thought it was going to be 3-3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really lived up to the first half billing, has it? But I think KDB is a good shout. Riyad Mahrez is still been very lively when he's got the ball.
He's just giving it away, my bad.
I've got a lovely question that's just been asked as well. Glenn, what would be your advice to young English players thinking of moving out of the Premier League to chase first-team football? You mentioned briefly that you flirted with the idea of playing abroad. How come you didn't do it? And what advice would you give?
Well, yeah, personally, I would have loved to do it.
Yeah?
What's that club, by the way? Can you say?
Yeah, I was linked to quite a few, to be honest. But when I was going to go on loan, I was going to go to Lyon.
Oh,
okay, cool.
But that was when I think they won the league like 7 years in a row.
Janino and them ones.
Yeah. So, no, I always wanted to try it because it's obviously you only get this window for football, don't you? So if you can get the opportunity to go and try different things, then obviously I would like to. But for me, it never happened because of certain times. And then, of course, you've got to look outside the box. And it's a great way of life as well. Learn something new, learn a new language, get out of your comfort zone a little bit. So I'd have much rather have played abroad as a young kid than not play in England, put it that way.
Yeah, we've seen Jadon Sancho prosper, haven't we? You know, going to Dortmund in order to get meaningful minutes. Is there a league or, I mean, you said Lyon, but if you could have picked, you know, when you were at peak Glenn Johnson, if you could have picked a club or a league to go to, where would that be?
I would have liked to play in Spain.
Yeah.
To play for one of the big guys in Spain would have obviously been amazing, wouldn't it? But
replacing Dani Alves at Seville, perfect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nice place to live as well.
Yeah, what climate?
Take that.
What a climate down there. 50 degrees it reached this year, Will.
Did it?
Unbelievable.
50?
Fry an egg on the pavement, mate.
Wow.
All right, anyway, let's have some more questions.
Jack Mate is in the chat and he's commented saying Dave's jacket stinks of Zara. Is it from Zara?
It is a Zara number.
Is it?
What a shout.
I think it's because he's got it himself.
As soon as Dave entered senior management, he just started like Zara, Reese.
Moss Bros?
Yeah, it is a little Zara number. So there are other. What is it? Smithy always says there are other shops available.
Other shops available.
Like that.
Other questions coming in. One from Game War. Do we think Chelsea have the capability to win the Premier League in 5 years' time because of the youngsters getting experience now? Very long-winded question because at this time the question.
Hello. Oh, what happened there?
That was very casual from Edison.
So here's a question: can Chelsea win the league in 5 years? Of course they can. Yeah. But there's so many different variables there, right?
Six of them can.
I'll be honest, we're running low on questions.
Oh, that was very casual from Edison. Right.
Is this Chelsea team? Okay. There will definitely be a Premier League winner in this Chelsea team in the next 5 years.
Will Chelsea win the league with Frank Lampard?
No.
Yeah, I'd agree with Dave, and I think their chances significantly increase if Guardiola leaves the league.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Say if he said he wants to extend his contract for City, I think he's up at the end of next season, maybe. Oh,
We've got a couple of restaurants in Manchester as well, which could
sway him.
I've eaten at one very nice El Gato, fantastic tapas.
Yeah?
Other tapas restaurants are available.
I wouldn't say they are, because this is phenomenal tapas. Glenn, who is or was your best mate in football?
Oh, great question.
Who do you still speak to?
I heard you call Wayne Bridges, so he's got to be a candidate.
Yeah, I get on well, Bridgie. Yeah, I'd say Crouchy or Scotty Parker, I'd say.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Big characters. Who
Yeah,
both like very different characters as well, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'll probably see Crouchy the most.
Yeah?
See City a bit, because we play golf a fair bit, but yeah, Crouchy's probably the one I see most.
How far can Crouchy go as an entertainment phenomenon? Can we see him?
Can he go beyond phenomenon?
We're talking James Corden. Can he beat Corden?
I think he's going to certainly try.
Yeah.
He's putting himself out there, isn't he? So he seems to be enjoying doing what he's doing, so good luck to him.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah. I mean, you've got, like we say, the different characters. You've got one guy who, like, is like clearly a born entertainer. He's on TV everywhere, and you've got Scott Parker, who's manager at the moment at Fulham, having to pick up the pieces, you know, of the club that was sort of crumbling around him. So, did you know that? Did you think, you know, as much as you thought Crouchy was going to be an entertainer, did you think Scott Parker was going to be a manager?
No, I probably didn't actually. I would have said a coach somewhere along the line or something like that. But no, I think it surprised me a little bit by getting a manager job so soon. But no, but he's doing all right. He's obviously enjoying it. So good luck to him.
Yeah. So you going to rope you in as his you know, assistant manager anytime soon, or what's going on?
Not for me. Mate. Not for me.
Yeah, it's good. We'll tie you down on a 10-show deal on Football Social. So Scott Parker, dream on, mate. Dream on. All right, any more questions?
Yeah, well, more of a point picked up by Jamal. He says, does Mahrez deserve more playing time after his fantastic performance today? So useful and so effective. I mean, with Sane out as well, has he sort of put a stake in the ground to say, yeah, I can play more?
He had to, didn't he? Sane was their match winner last season, double digits for goals and assists. I actually didn't think, I thought he'd be a rotation player again. And
Mahrez, do you mean?
Yeah. Oh, what a ball from Mahrez, right on cue as well.
Oh, the touch.
If Aguero's there, he's lapping up that service from Foden, isn't it? Was there any players that you saw really flourish in the second year? You know, when you played with them, then they had that difficult transitional year? Because we don't really give players time, do we, to go through that?
No, not anymore. Well, like I say, nowadays, certainly at the big clubs, you haven't got time to be given a year or 18 months to find your feet. You've got to almost hit the ground running. But yeah, of course, over the years I have done. There would have been bundles, but one of the biggest ones I can remember was Nico Crenshaw at Portsmouth. Actually, the first year, well, he didn't look interested.
Yeah.
He couldn't get on the ball, couldn't do anything. And then the next year he come back and he just bossed it from day one. It was strange.
What, you can explain that? It wasn't like you saw a more concerted effort in training, it was just like...
No, it was like out of nowhere, like literally overnight.
He was a bit of a dom, wasn't he? Very, very like...
He was a very good player.
A bit like Ozil when until he played for Rangers, and that's all changed.
He's still playing?
No, not for Rangers.
Thank God.
Thank God, indeed, mate. He was at QPR, and that's for a spell, wasn't he? When they were signing anyone and everyone.
Well, he was part of Harry's...
the Spurs team as well,
When he took Esteban Granero from Real Madrid on an absolute honker of a contract.
Esteban Granero,
what a name. Fair enough. So Nico Kranjčar, add him to Lucas Leiva and Shevchenko.
I feel like
some great names.
Like one more chance in this. I don't think this is.
A lot of people in the chat actually are saying 2-2. They think there's going to be.
Well, I think Chelsea more likely to score.
Yeah.
Not what I've seen. What do you guys think? Chelsea to nick one at the end?
I feel they should maybe bring on Giroud now. They've got nothing to lose.
Just lump it in.
Yeah. I absolutely love that. Just get the ball in the mix.
He's from the school of
Shut your eyes. Yeah. Shut your eyes and get out there as quick as you can.
Just get your elbows up, and it's yeah.
Would you like Pulis at Arsenal?
Oh, come on, man.
If he brought Jack Wilshere back with him?
It still pains me to see what's happened to Jack. It's just, he was so good. It's mental.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tony,
it's almost like a forgotten man now.
Yeah, it's like
never fit.
He was actually. I know I get a lot of stick in the office about when I keep going on about him, but he was awesome. Like And it wasn't just that game against Barcelona. If he was fit, Arsenal were a better team.
Yeah, we had to mention him because we do it every show. I just realised we're on the 89th minute and Dave hadn't spoken about Jack Wilshere yet, so I got a little bit panicky. Sorry, guys.
Ooh!
Is this Chelsea's big last chance?
Take a dive, son.
Will Brazzy there on the Football Social encouraging diving. So
Definitely.
have we gone from have we gone from Pulis to diving in the same breath?
I think if anything enhances the content, diving is that. So I'm more in favour for it.
Life is content, mate.
Exactly.
Content is life. Right, 4 minutes added to the 90.
Come on, Chelsea.
Let's see if Chelsea, have enough gas left in the tank. Or another very generic phrase like that, to score. Chances created. Kevin De Bruyne looks to be Sky Sports' man of the match in this game. He's first for pretty much every attacking metric. So, do we agree? Is KDB been the standout guy? He was your shout, wasn't he, Dave?
Yeah.
Just class.
Yeah.
He did say KDB 5 minutes ago. To be fair to Dave.
As well.
He did. Right, should we go to the fans then? Because Jackson's not giving me anything.
Oh, go on then. Now we go. Play him in. Red! Cynical!
We love to see that.
Take
we love
the
to
yellow.
see it.
That's the one you
Great
wanted.
yellow to take.
Who's that, Gundogan? That's definitely not how I pronounce it, is it?
You'd shake his hand there, wouldn't you, Glenn?
Gundogan.
Yeah.
Almost. But that's...
You'd rather he does than...
But if you're one of their centre-halves, you're like...
Yeah, you'd be like, well done, yeah.
I mean,
Not if he bangs this in, though.
It's from a promising position.
When
Mason Mount is a bit of a...
Yeah, there was like a viral clip this week, wasn't there, of him as a kid when he whipped it in the...
Yeah, you must have saw that in the Football Daily feed.
We probably shouldn't have used that.
Sonny and Templeman rolling that out, without the rights. Anyway, Gundogan's been booked just to confirm that in the 92nd minute. There's probably a couple of chances, left in the game, but this is certainly a big one, gentlemen.
If he scores this now, this is the end of the title race, by the way.
Is he shooting?
I think, there's no one else around, is there? He's going to...
Oh, Edison in the middle of the goal.
Another 10 yards back normally.
That is absolutely...
There's no way he scores from it.
No.
I didn't realise this far out.
The only way this move is if it gives it one of them.
If he scores this, I'll get frosted tips.
All right, we've definitely heard him say that.
Oh, he's hit it well, though.
You were worried there.
That was...
I don't know what noise I just made, but that was extremely close.
Oh my!
He's managed to get that up and over with pace.
He's kind of like...
That's a beautiful hit. Knuckle ball.
This must not be great entertainment from home, but
it's like the knuckle puck from Mighty Ducks, mate.
Oh, yeah. Love a flying V.
He's got rid of that.
Hit that clean on the pump valve there, hasn't he, Dave?
Yes, mate. He's
straight on the pump valve, mate.
Which isn't actually what he said in that clip, isn't it?
Yeah.
He said, is it?
And it was actually, I'm hearing now from the gallery, we did have the rights to use it. Oh!
Goal!
City have secured
That's your 11 to
the match. That's
3-1. I called it.
And your 11-2 bet.
Yeah.
That's that. And the fun stop though.
11-2 bet in. Dave's bet in. 3-1.
Drinks on me.
The title race back on.
It is.
Manchester City maintain
the chase, the hunt.
It's a 9-point deficit still. It couldn't stretch to any more than 9. Liverpool in fine form, like we discussed. Not the most convincing bit of goalkeeping from Kepa, who has actually been a little bit suspect at the start of the season, probably gone under the radar. But
got to save it.
If this was the chase, I think this would be described as about 2 questions to go with about 8 seconds.
You a big fan of the chase?
Big fan of the chase.
Probably should be talking about the game, shouldn't we? VAR looking to see if this is onside. Raheem Sterling, it looks like his...
Oh, he's given it offside.
What?
He's given... How?
No.
He can't
What's
score
he
with his
putting his
hand,
flag
can
up
he?
for?
He
Like
can't score with his hand. I thought that was the rule.
Come on.
Offside from a position...
We need that goal to stand for the views. Come on, Lino.
Why wouldn't the Lino just have a day off? Just let the game go.
The game's gone, mate.
I think there's a blue arm there. There's a blue arm that's playing him on.
He's onside.
Oh, come on!
I think one of the vertebrae in his spine was offside.
The Premier League will be
it's a goal.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, it's onside.
Well,
no goal! What's going on?
What's going on, Chris?
What? It was still 3-1 on the... I thought we were safe to announce it.
That was mental, that one.
What's gone on for the last 30
I don't know
seconds?
what's going on anymore.
It's all right, Glenn.
So Raheem Sterling is leaning somewhat, and has his shoulder been adjudged to be offside?
No, but there was a defender. It was
the
blue.
defender's hand was over, but
It'd be like Firmino when the Premier League said his armpit was offside. I mean, that's the levels we're getting to now. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, bet up Swanee as well.
I don't want to hark back to yesteryear, but giving the attacker the benefit of the doubt should always be the centre of football's philosophy. We want to see goals, don't we, mate? We want to see entertainment.
They don't know about
if it's that
concurrence.
close, then just give us the goal, mate. We need the views. Everyone's got to eat.
That's ridiculous, though. That is sour note for me.
And you've wrecked the chair as well. What's happened behind you? The game's all over. That chair's all over the place. Will's head's gone. Right, full-time scenes here, lads. At the Etihad. Blue Moon could have been, the dawn of their title hopes, but Blue Moon rise. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with. His side had to win that game. Glenn, does this keep them in the title? Because people are talking about City. It's a little bit of a foregone conclusion that Liverpool are going to win.
Well, they certainly needed that result to have any chance whatsoever.
Any chance. Strong. I like it.
And I know Chelsea have got similar points, or before the game they did have, but City are still the biggest threat in terms of they're going to keep the pedal down till the end of the season regardless. And I know a few people expect Chelsea to fall away, which they probably will do at some stage. But no, at least it's teed it up and hopefully it'll be interesting. But obviously I'm still fingers crossed Liverpool will do it.
Yeah, of course. I think City probably be a little bit aggrieved to be fourth at the moment. I think back on those results against Tottenham, for example, where they probably should have won by a 2-3 goal margin. And I'm not quite sure how they came out of that game, without the full 3 points. So I think they're probably a better side than their position reflects. Jackson, we talk about Leicester, we talk about Chelsea. It's still City, right?
It's a two-horse race.
Yeah.
It's a two-horse race.
How much further ahead are they than the likes of Leicester and Chelsea, in your opinion? I mean, we've seen fine margins here, but in the general scheme of things.
I think if Leicester get top 4, that is a phenomenal achievement. That is a phenomenal achievement. I think also with Chelsea, considering they're able to bring the players in, whereas you expect City and Liverpool to be challenging for the title. And I think you look at not just the first 11s, but squad depth. They're a big way. There's a big distance there between the other chasing pack.
Will, your thoughts similar?
Yeah, I personally think now, looking forward, I think it would be Liverpool, City, Leicester, Spurs. That's my top 4.
OK, well, you just mentioned the top 4. We can actually have a little look after these scenes at the top 4. Oh, here they are right now, in fact. That was very quick from the gallery. Well done. Liverpool still top then on 37 points. Leicester sitting pretty after 13 games, lucky for some, on 29. City, that's where we want to see them, in touching distance of the top 2. Chelsea only fall to 4th. Arsenal, where are they? Sorry, I can't quite. Oh, 7th, mate. Below Wolves and Burnley.
And Sheffield just got a game in hand.
Barmy Army and Sean Dyche, who eats worms. So,
True, mate. Yeah.
7th. OK. I mean, how do you think you're going to finish above Sheffield United at the end of the season? Or?
I think we'll get rid of this plonker and we'll go on a run and we'll get back into the top 4.
All right. There we have it. I mean, is he in a job, Phil? Still, Unai Emery? Still in a job. Can clarify, Phil Chorley has not sacked Unai Emery. All right, at least not today, he said. Will, people in the comments, do they think this game, I think the result was fair even? Do they harbour any aspirations for City's title hopes? I feel like it's we don't want Liverpool to get any further ahead than they are right now from a neutral perspective, do we?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are mentioning today and the VAR call for Liverpool, everyone just feels like it's the momentum is in Liverpool's favour. Is that something we'd all agree with? It just feels like it's Liverpool's time.
Bit predestined.
Yeah.
I mean, you were at Liverpool when you're on a cusp of winning a title, like you said, you didn't really have any right to be there given the calibre of other squads. But how did the place change when it became like a possibility? Did you feel that extra pressure? Did you feel the weight of the history of the club on the squad, so to speak?
No, not really.
No, nice, fair.
No, not really, no. It's just like everyone was enjoying it. Obviously, the last handful of home games, with the atmosphere of the way the fans were turning up early at the stadium, it's like we'd already won it. So everyone was enjoying it, the town was enjoying it. Obviously, we was playing great, we was blowing most teams away. So It was literally just that. I think everyone was just enjoying every moment of it. It was just obviously a shame in terms of saying that's why we didn't win the league, but that's not correct. We didn't win the league because we dropped 20 points before Christmas. And if we did win the league, it would have been in a fashion that no one had ever done in the past, because we would have won like 18 games in a row, which would have been unbelievable.
Literally a season of
so we didn't lose the game because of the last few games. We lost it because we had a few home draws that we should have won at the start of the season.
Yeah, like you said, marathon, not a sprint. You look like you're down tools, Will. I'm going to ask you if we've got any big questions.
Yeah, they're all
you must have
mate.
exceptional eyesight, mate. I definitely can see my laptop from...
Forward, would you rather be the huntee or the hunter? As in, Man City are on the chase in Liverpool now, but obviously you spoke about the weight of expectation with Liverpool. I mean, it already starts to build now. What position would you rather be in?
I'd rather be at the top being chased.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. Because really all the pressure's on everyone to catch them. Because even now, Liverpool can not suggesting they do this, but if they was to lose 3 games, the others have still got to win them.
Yeah.
If the others lose them as well, then they're still in the same position. So the pressure's on everybody else, as well as them needing Liverpool to slip up.
Is it different at Liverpool? Because I saw last year, I think it was when they were playing Leicester around Christmas time, and there was a chance. It was when I think they were 10 points clear. But as soon as something doesn't happen at Anfield in the 45 minutes, like the pressure gets on the pitch. Is that something that you felt in your time, and do you think it's like a repeat we could see again?
Yeah, there was periods during our time when, if you was playing, say, a weaker team at home and you wasn't winning maybe as early as the fans were expecting, you could feel it in the air a little bit. But to be honest, that year when we did finish second, we'd pretty much won most of our games after 20 minutes. You know, we used to come out of the block so quick, and we scored so many early goals. So there's only a handful of occasions that, I don't know, we was probably drawing to a team we shouldn't have been after like 60 minutes, you know?
Yeah, fair play. Some great questions there, and you know, if you want to send in questions
for future episodes, well, lucky you, because one is coming up next Saturday. So, from 2:45 p.m. next week, we have all the big boys playing, including Liverpool, Spurs and Chelsea. So, another dynamic could unfold in terms of the top 4 as and when on the show. Thank you very much for turning out for this show, gentlemen. It's been lovely.
It's been fun.
And you know, let's take a look at those lovely bits right now, Dave. It's the best bits, just close-ups of Dave screaming. Bye. Oh, we're in.
Oh, he should have scored!
Brilliant. Very similar chance there to KDB. What happened there, Glenn?
I didn't see it, I was talking to you. Great tactic.
Kante!
Oh! Kante the wizard!
N'Golo!
There you go.
He's quality, isn't he?
That's brilliant!
So good.
Pause that for a second, because Manchester City are in.
De Bruyne!
KDB!
Oh, he's got in!
Oh! Hello, Riyad Mahrez! Hijack this show with fantasy football chat, and I've had just about enough of it, to be honest.
Well, I don't want to be wearing an Aston Villa shirt on the 28th of December, and that won't mean anything to anyone, but it means something to me.
What I've tried to do there is host the quiz, and I've ended up being humiliated. All right, Jordan, dog, we're not going for a drink after the game.
Tell Ben Haim.
Yes.
Play for Boom.
He did, yeah.
He did. Put that on your list.
Phil, there's loads of them. This is literally the worst quiz ever.
Steve Jones, well done. Pete is in the chat, and he's commented saying, Dave, jacket stinks of Zara. Is it from Zara?
It is a Zara number.
Is it?
What a shout.
Ooh!
Is this Chelsea's big last chance?
Oh, take a dive, son.
Will Brazzy there on the Football Social encouraging diving. So,
definitely.
Bad. We've gone from Is it? Oh! Goal! He has secured
That's the 11th.
the match. That's
3-1.
I've called it. That's a goal.
There's a goal.
Oh, brilliant.
It's on the side.
No goal! What's going on?
What's going on, Chris?
What? It was still 3-1 on the. I thought we were safe to announce it.
That was. Cheers, guys. That was wicked.
Yeah, well done, boys.